Days gone, I won't waste another one. Oh, darkness, it won't set me back again. Oh, my sleeper away. Whoa, let the future escape. Oh, my sleeper away. Whoa, let the future escape. They will watch us shake the ground. Oh, it's like us. It will fill the air around. Oh, not sleep away. Oh, let the future escape. Oh, not sleep away. Oh, let the future escape. Shining dreams take me back to you. In the night when I heard your call. We're not the only ones. 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 Shining dreams take me back to you. In the night when I heard your call. We're not the only ones. We're not the only ones.
A new day here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, brings with it, in many FIFA players' mind, a chance to start afresh. For some teams, this will be crucial as they look to right the wrongs of yesterday. And for others, they will hope to build on the results achieved in the second day of competition here at the FIFAe Nations Cup. We'll welcome then as we get ready to go again with groups A and B who are in action today. And of course, we will lose 8 teams at the end of today, and 16 will go through to the knockout stages, which begin here tomorrow. Then welcome to our studio. We have Alex B, Brandon Smith and August Rosemeyer as well joining us today on the sofa. Brandon, I'm going to come to you first. The script pretty much went as we expected it to yesterday. A few anomalies there, but I want to ask you about what do you think some of the clubs may be able to take home from this stage that we saw happen last week?
I think the key thing is if you've had a bad day one, you're not out the race yet. Keep that in mind. What we saw in the E-Club World Cup, I was looking back to last year's E-Nations as well. 11 points got Canada out the groups last year in Copenhagen. So even if you had a bad day, there are still 15 points on the line today. You come through, as we saw last week in the E-Club, anything can happen.
There's still hope. You can right those wrongs, like I mentioned. Aggie, I'll come to you next. Obviously, you've got all eyes on Team Denmark there. Finished in 4th after day one. There was a couple of changes at the end, weren't there? Marcuso jumped out for Ooston. Is that a sign of things to come today?
I think they're definitely going to switch up things at times. We've seen the coach, Dennis, not being afraid of making changes fast if he's not happy with what he's seeing. So I think we'll see a combination, but we'll still see Anders as mainly playing all of the games.
Yeah, well, Anders is the mainstay in that team. Alex, I'm going to jump over to you as well. A couple of other teams we were seeing struggling. One that we were all keeping an eye on here was the USA. They kind of bounced back, didn't they, a little bit at the end. They got that draw against Finland, and they got a big, big win at the end of day one against Malaysia. Is that enough for them to be propelled into a bit more momentum today, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, they made that tactical change as well. Lamps having CJ on that side of things, with Fiddle dropping out to the reserves. I think when you pick up that win, that's the best way that obviously you can end that day after a disappointing day one for the US. They would have regrouped last night. They've had conversations. They come into day two, and like Brandon says, it's a completely different day. And day two, we know teams are going to go home. The US put in a strong performance. They can see themselves going through.
Well, they're sitting in 5th, aren't they, after day one? All still to play for, though. 5 more matches coming each club's way. But let's have a quick look then at the table toppers from yesterday and a massive goal from each of them. Let's start off then, Alex, with Argentina and Saudi Arabia. Argentina won that one 1-0.
Yeah, their first game, they received 2 penalties against them, against Denmark, but they regrouped quick enough and got that top of the group. And then also France as well, that outside of the boot from Kevin De Bruyne, delivering very well. And also, Turkey, we said about them, they came in. They've got loads of people there supporting them, and they delivered, currently sitting in a very, very strong position in their group as well. And Israel, we saw yesterday, Milinkovic-Savic, That man at the back stick, brilliant header.
That one actually ended 6-0 as well. That was a dominant victory for Israel. Well, Group A standings look like this. Argentina, Alex just took you through one of their matches yesterday and one of their goals, 10 points. Saudi Arabia, then the local side, on 9, and the Netherlands probably wanting a little bit more with 8 points, as are Denmark, who we say are in that drop zone position at the moment. Canada then on 5 points, and Qatar on 1 point. Group B then, 11 points for France and Morocco, both at the top there of Group B. Italy need a little bit more, don't they, with 7 points. They've got a strong side there. Finland on 5. USA, we spoke about them with Alex, on 4 points after a big win yesterday, and then Malaysia as well on 2. Right, well, that's how it looks after 5 matches. Brandon, I'm coming to you about Canada as well. They started so strongly yesterday and then just kind of fell off their form. Do you expect more from that Canadian side with the players they've got as well here today?
Yeah, well, one thing I'd say about Canada as a whole was, look, they made knockout stages last year, Rach. They were the team that got the lowest amount of points to get through. So they're used to sort of leaving it late, hopefully not as late as it was last year. One thing I also like about their team as well, they're happy to make changes. They've got AJ as a third player there. Personally, I didn't think he would feature as much as he has, but there was a sub mid-game they made, and he also featured a few times, keeping goal machine out of that team, which for me says maybe there isn't any egos in that camp, and they're happy to make changes.
A lot of teams are doing that, aren't they, as well? USA, I don't think Mike actually believed that CJ would come in. He came in, didn't he, at the end of the day, which was great to see. A lot of these players getting a chance here. Well, a lot of the players have been getting a chance yesterday. Will they get another chance today? Let's welcome then our players to the stage here on day 2. First up then, it's the local team led by MS Dossery there from Saudi Arabia. They're the home heroes. Obviously, Abu Makara in the middle there. He's qualified for all 3 World Cups, Brandon.
Yeah, and there was no change yesterday in that Saudi Arabia team. It was MS Dossery and Abu Makara that played every single game. Moving on to Qatar that came out next, only 1 point from 15. This side, though, again, a team of no changes, no surprise there. Nicholas and Matthias Bonanno featuring in every matchup so far.
They will be followed by the Canadian outfit as well. Ranked 9th in the world. We mentioned them already. Goal machine, AJ and Extra. Then this is the team from Morocco. 11 points yesterday, coached by Mr. Dory. They've got quite the story, trying to live up, of course, to the national side who got to the semi-finals at the World Cup in Qatar.
Yeah, Malaysia just in front of the USA. They were happy to make changes in round 4 and round 5. They'll be needing a much better performance today. Only 4 points from 15 in day 1. USA have strong history in this tournament of making the knockout stages.
Well, as to the team that follow them, France, obviously they've obviously walked onto stage. Then we've got Denmark there, 11th in the drop zone on 4th at the moment. Obviously you've got Uston Marcuso and Anders there, the world champion from last week.
Yeah, last but not least, the Netherlands, Italy. Of course, not last but not least is Finland. Italy, they made so many changes to their roster yesterday, still trying to find the perfect way to play. 7 points from 15, wasn't the best day, but certainly not the worst.
Absolutely, well, there we have it. Let's finish on the Italian team there. Let's see how they can get on in day 2. I think everyone's favourite story yesterday, we're just seeing the Finnish side there. They had some good results, didn't they? When we saw Kozu come into the team and the coach was saying he really lifted that side, which was really lovely to hear. But one of the sides that were speaking more maybe about food, weren't they, than their performances, was the side from Morocco, coached by Mr. Dory. The 3 Moroccan players are more like brothers than teammates, as we heard earlier this week.
Last year they were qualified, and it's the 2nd year in a row this year. Morocco is becoming a big country of FIFA, and we are proud of this. And we want to continue to keep going on this line and performing on the big stage.
We actually just met like 6 or 7 months ago, but we have we are family now, you know. We're just not a group. We're just spending time being in the swimming pool, going out together, we're trying to have the most time together.
At the start it was hard to adapt to each other, but now we are like a family, and now it's good.
You stole my question.
I didn't know it's. He lived for the cameras. He loved it. We have a very tough group with big opponents, but I think we can make it. We are one of the 4 favorites of the group, I think.
For us, the target is like to go for the to be champions. We're here to win now.
We want to show what we are able to do, make people proud of us, and Moroccan people to be proud of us.
Watch out.
Don't underestimate Morocco. Don't underestimate Morocco.
Okay, and watch out.
Well, the Moroccans are a big family outfit then there, aren't they? Super friendly. And talking of them being really friendly, actually one of them, Sabiri, came up to us this morning and says, well, my mum's actually done some cooking. Would you like to try the treats? Absolutely, Sabiri. Come and join us here and show us exactly what your mum has been cooking. What treats have you got? Are these traditional Moroccan treats here?
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to say hello. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you.
This is like, we have like special food in Morocco. And my mom did make this is homemade. So I can like give it to people and like taste it. And like maybe, inshallah, you're going to visit Morocco and like it because there's a lot of things to visit in Morocco because it's a very beautiful country.
Yeah, I hear that. Show us, though, what is in that box, please, Sabiri. I'm very hungry. I actually skipped lunch because I knew this was coming. Oh, please, no, safe hands there. Right, what have we got? What should we try?
So this is like famous sweet kanji. There is a lot of them. There is like some is made with peanuts.
Oh, lovely.
And some is made with almonds. And like this is like when we have like import celebration in Morocco, we put like this in like for celebrate like something like wedding or stuff like that. So it's important. Like I think you're gonna like it. So
perfect. Alex, take one, pass it on. Sabiri as well. One quick question to you as we're going to jump down into the matches. Morocco doing so well yesterday. Are you expecting to continue that form today? And have they been eating these for breakfast?
Of course, like we always trust in Morocco. And you see like what we did in Qatar, like that was something great and changed a lot of things in future. Like our coach say, Jiruni, Jima Maghreb. So always we go further, like we put a lot of effort because there is a lot of fan and supporter, like the supporters from Morocco, and like we need to put all in, so we're gonna be proud of us. So yeah, this is like, we come here not to just compete, but for winning.
Well, we'll have to see, Sabiri. Thank you very much for treating us here as well.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to Morocco as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Sven, I believe you're down there ready for some interviews. I'll save you one of these, I promise.
Thank you very much. Yeah, look forward to that. I'm in the Saudi Arabian booth here with a man whose name is synonymous with FIFA, not just in this country, but all over the world. Of course, it's MS Dossary. How are you, sir?
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. It's a pretty good day for you guys yesterday. 3 wins, 2 losses, 9 points. You hoping for more of the same today?
Yeah, I think we're kicking off of how we started yesterday. Yesterday, 9 points. We're looking to get as much as we can today.
How proud are you that this tournament is getting hosted in your home country? You know, it's a country that has done a lot in the history of FIFA, including yourself, obviously, as a world champion. But it's great to actually have the event taking place here, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, since we spoke 5-6 years ago, and even with the guys from FIFA, that I always have a dream to play here in my hometown. So let's hope that I deliver now.
How do you like playing 2v2? Obviously, a world champion as a 1v1 player. How do you find this setup?
Well, if you would ask me what do I prefer obviously 1v1, but I'm happy that I have a talented player as Ahmed Abu Makka and even Goat Mohammed.
Okay, best of luck today, guys. All the best. It's a strong side, of course. 9 points yesterday. The same will definitely get them through. We're going to go through to another team here, which is Team Canada, who didn't have as good a day, but not a terrible day. 5 points you guys finished on. What was your thoughts at the end of day one?
To be honest, it's a big disappointment, but we will still fight. Today is the most important day, because today we will see who goes to the knockouts, so we will do what we can.
I head over to Goal Machine here, another part of the team. Started off with a win yesterday, and then it sort of dropped a little bit from there, but you picked up some points in the 2 draws. How can you make sure today starts the same way yesterday did?
I mean, we just got to come out and fully concentrate in every game, you know, and we cannot lose focus at any point and play our best game, and I think we'll be fine.
Have you got a target in mind? Is it just about getting through in 4th or any position, or would you like to go higher up?
Of course, we're here to get as many points as possible, but the main goal is to get top 4, so we'll see how the day goes.
Okay, best of luck, Team Canada. Games are getting ready. I'm looking forward to this one. There's going to be some big matchups coming up as we get towards the end of the group stages.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sven. And Brandon also thought they were going to get through safely, Team Canada as well. So they're confident. Brandon's confident on the sofa as well. Mike LaBelle is just joining us as well. You missed a chat after we'd just finished eating all the lovely treats that were given by Morocco about Team USA. Have you had a chance to get in the camp today and have a chat to them about day 2?
Well, I talked to CJ a little bit last night. I saw him sitting down with Lamps. I expect to see them in action a lot more here. I think CJ and Lamps both have had a lot more experience competing the last couple years compared to Fiddle, and we have to make moves here, but it's for the taking. That's a positive. When you have an off opening day, sometimes you don't get a second chance, and they definitely are in a position where you can still control your destiny.
Did they chat about why they made the decision and what tactics they changed in that Malaysia game when they did get the victory there?
There's not major shifts here in terms of the team. It's more about the substitutes of the actual players' capabilities, how you align with somebody, and being synchronized.
Yeah, it's all about the kind of togetherness these teams can bring. And we know both of these sides here have great kind of friendships in the camp as well, especially that Netherlands side, as we start things off on day 2 here with the Netherlands taking on Canada.
Yeah, interesting to say about this Netherlands team. Yesterday it was Manu Bashir that did play the first game, but then he was subbed out for the remaining of the day as Louis David came in alongside Emre Yilmaz. I did hear that Emre Yilmaz will be in first game alongside Manu Bashir. Then they'll make a change to see how it plays out. But I know we've spoken a lot here on the couch about changes that are happening in these teams. And necessary, don't think it's a bad thing in terms of what Italy were doing yesterday. Constant changes to try and find maybe the right roster for the right moments in the game.
We had the big discussion, didn't we, about changes, and I'm sure we're still going to see some more finding their best team as we speak about that Italian side as well. Brandon started his conversation off with them, a lot of movements, and it's working so far. The first goal of this session comes from those Italians.
Yes, against the USA, where they had quite a field day yesterday in their opening matchup, winning that game 5-1. But I spoke to Capchi yesterday, and he said, look, to the outside, it might look like we're panicking. We're changing mid-game, we're changing every game. We just want to find how to see out certain match situations.
And I hope that we are not revisiting Italy versus the United States yesterday. It was a similar beginning, down early, and the U.S. wasn't really able to make that competitive.
Well, someone who's got close eyes on this game, August Rosemeyer. Denmark against Argentina. In this game yesterday, we saw a 1-0 win for Denmark. I know you spent a lot of time this morning with Marcuso and Anders Vergang. What's the overall feeling in that side of the camp coming into day 2?
I think they're quite confident. They knew that they could have played better yesterday, but overall I think they were satisfied with the points, and they knew that they had to get some points here. And yesterday they beat Argentina, and now they're taking the lead again, so a promising start for Denmark.
Probably one of the most difficult teams to come up with first, if you can again get this good result against that pairing who some of us probably could think could be world champions, as we just see another goal for Italy there against the USA. Just to double their lead.
Stop looking at me. I'm directing that type of energy. I don't like it. I don't want it.
Is it possible flashbacks to yesterday for the US right now?
This is feeling very similar. I've got Rachel looking at me, I've got August looking at me, and then we're conceding goals. And we know in competitive FIFA, especially 2v2, if anything, a lot of the games end up being a lower scoring affair. And it's so difficult to chase back when it gets to 2 or 3 goals without having high risk and hoping for some sort of reward. But you leave yourself back, or you leave yourself open or exposed for a lot of opportunities and counterattacks.
You are from the US, right?
I am.
That's why I'm looking at you.
I understand why. I'm just not happy about it. I see the glare from across the room.
However, to this game very quickly, a bit of a correction from my side. So it is Levi David and Manu Bashir that start this game. Emre Yilmaz will sit out. We join this one now, a team that is desperate for a good day too, is Malaysia. They drew against Morocco 1-1 in the first round of play yesterday. They're open for a big 3 points here as we jump back over to Denmark against Argentina.
And Group A is just, I mean, the results going on right now could be very definitive for Canada, at least. If they lose this one to the Netherlands and Denmark wins against Argentina, it's a big gap from that 5th place up to the 4th place. So it's about being ready from the beginning here on day 2.
The quick fire recap too. If you're looking at Group A, it really comes down to is Canada going to make a move. Otherwise, the 4 teams that we expected to be where they are, they might intertwine and move around in terms of the overall ranking or seeding. But those are the 4. And even if Group B it's a similar situation. France, Morocco, Italy, we thought they'd be there. Who comes in what position? That's a whole different debate. And it comes down to can Malaysia, can USA, can Finland kind of battle out who's going to slide into that 4th position.
Well, the team that looked pretty much unstoppable yesterday, top of Group B, find themselves 2-0 down to Malaysia. That instant pause coming through. The Moroccan team find themselves back up against the wall. I mean, we did say they had such a good day on day 1. Day 2, they can afford a few little changes in results.
Well, this is where Group B can start looking interesting. If USA lose this game, they'll remain on 4 points. Malaysia win this, they'll be on 5. If France can get the result on Finland, suddenly that 3rd and 4th spot conversation starts going. Because if we're being honest, we're sitting here and we would say coming in to the tournament as a whole, France and Italy should be running away a guaranteed top 2 to go through.
Yeah, and I will say yesterday, Morocco for me was the biggest standout surprise. I didn't expect them to share the 1st place in that group, and they were so close getting the 3 points as well against France. Really, really impressed by them, and they almost did their entire job yesterday. They just need to push now, and maybe that's the thing that's really tough for them, because they know they're so close to get to that knockout stage that maybe the nerves are starting to kick in.
Aggie, look away. I would look away right now. Argentina have just put on a masterclass in the last 10 in-game minutes or so. Nicolas and Matthias Bonanno, who lost this game by giving away a penalty in the 85th minute yesterday, are now 2-1 up.
The footwork there, Aggie, just to fake that and then get into that elastico, saying goodbye to the Danish defenders.
A really nice goal, but also I think a little bit sloppy in defense there. Looked like they both covered one angle, which is maybe a bit out of sync there from Denmark. Nevertheless, Argentina, for me, as I also predicted, the pre-favorites, in my opinion, coming into not only the group, but for the entire competition. So I would expect them to top the group, even though it is a group where a lot of good teams are.
We talk so much about these substitutions or player rotations, but I actually just feel, and this is my theory, of course, it's more or less for the group stage to decide who's going to play in the brackets. I don't think we're going to see this type of rotation or adjustment when we get into the best of 3, unless you need something drastic to change or something drastic to happen where there's a clear disaster or it's just clearly not working. I just don't think it's going to happen at the same degree where we're seeing so much almost predetermined interchangeability here. We talked about it a little bit yesterday with August, but some of these teams look as if they've already decided you're going to play game 2, we're going to play game 4, we're going to play game 5, and it's not necessarily about what's happening on the virtual pitch.
Do you think when you're looking at your 2v2 and your ideal 2v2, you build it around what we saw Brian for France talking about? We have LJR as our one-player profile, and then it's about moulding it in and saying, right, if we need goals, we bring in Fuma. If we want to see that game out, we use Diogo. Do you think having that one player and then building 2 players around that is the best way to go?
Oh, nearly a goal here. But as Rachel was talking about yesterday a little bit, she swung in my direction. I'm a structured guy. I need planning. I feel if you fail to plan, then you're kind of planning to lose these games. And to a certain degree, it's more planned if you know you have one guy in position and then you're kind of rotating around to make sure you're getting whoever's in the best form. But I don't think you can have this free flow. It can't be all for debate and anybody does as they wish to do. You're going to play offense, you're going to play defense, we're going to step, we're going to play pass, we're going to play aggressive. That doesn't work. In my opinion, it just doesn't work. I don't like it.
Well, we're sticking with this game, and we were... Are we sticking there? We're not. We were going to talk about the Morocco-Malaysia game. I think they're in half-time at the moment. Half-time means changes again. They're rotating their players behind us. Brandon, you've just seen it actually happen.
Yeah, so it's 36 minutes in that game. Malaysia have just scored again. They're 3-0 up, Malaysia. As I said, after Morocco had such a good day 1, the change that's happened it looks as like Ayman's come out, and it's Adam Hatake that's come in to play alongside Marwan.
There we go. There we go.
It's a brave sub to make 36 minutes in, but they want a change and they need a change.
Mike, you're getting back in it
I've got
slowly
hope.
but
This
surely.
looks way better than yesterday. Yesterday, we lost this game 5-1. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to discuss it. But I need you to know at home what happened.
Well, we're already at the second half here, and it's only 2-1 as it stands. So, yeah, looking a much better scoreline for the Americans thus far. But it's still 0-0 as well in the Qatar-Saudi Arabia game. The local side haven't been able to find anything yet. They, again, won this one 1-0 yesterday. So it was quite a close matchup, but still nothing to separate the sides at the moment. Saudi again sitting in second place will be hoping to continue with the form they showed yesterday and get through with ease, Mike.
If we're just basing this off results, you kind of always have to get some points off Qatar. But at the same time, if Qatar is able to make something happen here, maybe you can shake up the group a little bit. I still feel that it's somewhat decided between Argentina, Saudi, the Netherlands, and Denmark. But weirder things have happened. We've still got Canada knocking on the door. And if you recall in E-Club, I look back at that Hollywood team. They came into day 2 on 1 point. And they got themselves out of the situation, out of the equation, out of the permutation. It was unbelievable. It's created one of the best moments we've seen in E-Club history.
They did, though, didn't they, get 4 wins? Qatar need to find something quickly, as do Canada. Well, let's go then back to our featured matchup, which is Denmark and Argentina. Denmark led the line early on, and then Argentina very much got themselves back in this one, Aggie.
Yes, as it stands right now, Argentina with another corner here. They've been really, really dangerous on these set pieces, Argentina. It's also a thing that I think the players and the coaches and the teams are rating highly, and they're putting a lot of effort into, because it's about the small margins, just finding it. Mike's just pointing towards the screen.
I need a replay. I need an instant replay ASAP.
Mike, would you like me to look at you now? What's happening over in the USA match?
Well, Denmark just conceded on a side note, but this is what's happened in the USA match. We went down 2-0, but we battled back. And that's not the highlight. I was hoping that was going to be the highlight. I was building into it, but Ruud Gullit takes the space, does what you'd expect him to do, able to convert from the midfield. This is what I wanted to talk about. Here we go. Dino, a little bit of that stop, pop, little step over, speed burst, near post finish. You dance, you move, you groove, you brag a little bit. And now we got some momentum.
This actually becomes very interesting for Denmark. They currently start 3rd in that group, and we knew yesterday they started off well and then they fell off ever so slightly. Anders was saying he's not happy with the performance. Very different to what he had in that Club World Cup with RB Leipzig and his teammate Umit. Does this change things, Aggie? Could they go on and maybe Canada, if they can pull something out of the bag, maybe take Denmark out?
I think that head-to-head between Canada and Denmark is going to be vital. It's going to decide a lot of things, but however, I still back my boys. I mean, Argentina is the best team in the group, arguably, so to lose out to them is maybe, it's not a shame, right?
And I don't know the rules of ice bath and sauna talk, but I shared that with the Danish team, including August this morning. And I did talk to, there's relevance here, I promise. And I did speak with Anders, and Anders said they're getting grouped. But if you know Anders, that's also just kind of how he talks. And I don't like read into it too much, but that happened. And I don't know if there's a bad etiquette in talking about the sauna and ice bath talk and discussion. I'll wait for August to rule on that.
With you, Mike, I never know which way you're going. But let's come back to Aggie there and speak about that. Anders saying he's going to get grouped. Can you read into that at all? Mike said he doesn't think you can.
I think that sometimes it can be hard to read exactly what Anders is saying. In Denmark, we're also very happy to be sarcastic. And with Anders' confidence, I mean, surely when he's sitting there now, he's not going to feel that they're going to go out in the group. We heard him throughout the entire season, how confident he is, how much he backs himself, how much he backs the team. So I'm pretty sure that he backs Denmark and that he will definitely do the job together with the other boys.
I hope so. I got them top of my table in our predictions, so I'm backing them as well, Aggie.
Honest, I think the conversation around what Alex was saying, you know, do Denmark drop down? I think it just depends on how Qatar get on against Canada and how Qatar get on against Denmark. It really depends on everything that they do today. They are a driving force in that back line. There was a breakthrough here for the French side. It's a breakthrough in the 71st minute. Their first goal here in day 2. Remember, they topped the group yesterday with a couple of goals, a +7 goal difference, 11 points from 15. The result of this round is this one on your screen now. Malaysia 3-0. If Finland are losing, the USA are now losing 3-2. Malaysia are right back into the conversation.
Yeah, very much so. Completely switched on its head, doesn't it? Group B does there. Morocco. Different team coming into day 2 here. Alex?
We teed it up yesterday. We mentioned day 1 and day 2. There's always one team that has a brilliant day 1 and they just can't match that same energy in day 2. We saw it in the Club World Cup with the home side. They were brilliant on day 1. They looked unstoppable. Day 2, a little bit different. However, we do go back to it as we see a goal come back from Canada. They have got 13 minutes left to try and spice up that Group A. But going back to that point, they probably did enough. Yes, this is only game 1. They are going to get points over the next few games. At some point, you're kind of sure of that. When you have such a good day 1, which we saw Morocco do in that Group B, it can be difficult to hit that same level.
Mike, why do players lacking consistency over 2 days?
FIFA's just one of those games sometimes, and we need to see more from Morocco today. This is their first game, maybe a little bit slow starting. Malaysia set the tempo, set the tone. They also needed the victory a little bit more, to Alex's point. If you're a fan of Morocco, they probably done enough on day 1 to get themselves out of that group. Now, we'll see how they perform today and what kind of momentum they carry through, but either way, worst case scenario, get a couple points, you're going to secure moving forward, moving onward, and then it's another reset tomorrow.
We heard some shouts and screams from behind us from the Arabic commentary we have, and obviously they are going to be shouting if their local side scores, and that is Saudi have scored. They've got 1 goal against Qatar as we approach the final stages of that game as well, Brandon.
Yeah, let's have a look at this one then as the goal went in. We're in added time in the match live. The goal went on the 89th minute. How about that one? A Trivela that wasn't even green from Hakimi, of all people, that puts it into the back of the net.
Takes a throwback to the start of the year, that does. That sort of Trivela, they just stay in the air so long. Hakimi not having the highest of shot power just means you can get that looping effect on that tight angle, and a vital goal for the Saudi Arabian team.
And this is where I say now, Qatar, their role changes in this tournament now. They're not going to be in the top 4, but what they can do is they can mix up who gets that 4th place. Full time here looks to come in. Italy were 2-0 up, then they threw away the leads. There's about 1 minute left in the game. Italy give USA a free kick with 1 more attack to be played. Can the United States find an all-important equaliser? Maybe they can. Keeper's off his line. Shot comes in.
Come on! Let's go! Come on!
That could be a huge point in Group B for USA.
Beautiful. I don't know if they have me on camera there. I'm very
I hope
excited
they have you on
about
camera.
that. Yeah, happy days. This is what we didn't have yesterday. We didn't have any fight back. We didn't face adversity well. We got blown out a couple times. This is how we start the day. I know it's a draw, but we scored 3. I don't want to talk about the conceding side, but this is good. This is good. We can work with this.
That's just not giving up right until the final whistle there, Mike, as well.
You got to show some heart. There's a lot of moments they could have given up in that game, too.
Lamp screened that as well, by the way.
I noticed that. That's not easy to do. You're under pressure. And you could argue you don't need to. It's unnecessary. Took green time it off the volley, open goal. We'll take it. We'll take it. Confident man.
Conversation back to Italy, Alex. 2-0 up, couldn't hold on to that lead. 3-2 up, gave away a silly free kick. Next we don't lose the game. Let's join this one as we see it live now. 8 minutes left to play. Malaysia still in front, 3-1.
The free kick looked to be smart to try and slow down that game. Got that red card as well, just to break up that counter-attack. They just didn't clear their lines, didn't sort out. The keeper comes out from that cross that we saw. But again, we have to give credit to the US to take that on that strike in that last minute, knowing it is your last possible chance. It could be a vital point in this group stage. Back to the game though, Malaysia and Morocco.
Oh, they shorted. The chip there wasn't quite precise enough. And the reason we're bringing up the US game is because it starts to build a little bit of a narrative, and I'm very biased, fully. And I feel like there was a 3rd point that I wanted to add into that.
Finland lost. Finland, who are sat right now 3rd in that group, they lost. 4th, sorry, I should say. Which that's vital, right? If you're the US, yes, you got a point there. But for Malaysia, you picked up 3 points. Finland starting the day on that loss could change things massively.
Well, this one, then, Malaysia have had a great start, haven't they? I'm sure Morocco aren't going to get 2 in, what, a minute. But it is still game on for Denmark. They're still behind against this side from Argentina, 3-1. And time is running away from them.
I also think we should track back again and look at Group B here. Italy's not really that safe. They're on 8 points here. You got 5 points for Finland, 5 for the US, 5 for Malaysia. This is starting to open up a little bit in Group B. Might not have expected it, but anything can happen here. And Italy had moments that they looked fantastic yesterday, and then other moments where we started, at least for me, I look back at Exceed, which was one of the favorites, and we're looking at E-Club with the Italians, and they really under-delivered in terms of our own personal expectation, probably their own personal expectation as well.
Well, the Italians then, gave away some big points in that opening matchup. Denmark looked to be doing the same, actually. Could get one back there. Not enough time now, I don't feel, for 2 more goals. Is there a consolation here for Haggie's Danish side? We'll have to wait and find out as the clock just ticks down here. A lot of work then to do. Especially, it does just go in for Argentina. Matthias Bonanno and Nicholas will be liking their start today too here.
Attack the keeper.
Questionable keeping though.
Did we see the change, by the way? Houston coming in. For Anders Vergang, sorry, for Marcuse there. Full time in that one. That is round 1 officially concluded here in day 2 of the E-Nations Cup. One thing that we know about Group A, everyone shares points. All the big nations share points. Yesterday, Denmark beat Argentina. Today, they changed roles, and the same thing can be said for the Netherlands and Canada.
Yeah, lots of different narratives unfolding here between groups A and B. The big one, because we have a man from the US next to us, is that fight, that comeback from his side. USA against Italy, massive result for them, getting a point there today, Mike.
Well, it sets the tone for the day, and yesterday we started about as bad as you could. We were conceding a ton of goals, which means nobody's communicating properly in that. We're battling back. It showed some heart. It just makes me excited. You know, I've got that biased fandom here, but I really believe that we have enough to get out of this group.
Mike, we're going to see that goal again. I want the same reaction, if you please.
I don't know if you're going to get me punching the seat over here. I was up and down, spilling all sorts of drinks. You see the build-up, beautiful ball there. Goalkeeper comes out, hits it first time, and as Alex brought it up, he hit it first time. Andy Green timed it with Hugo Lloris. We've talked about the goalkeepers. It's still unusual for me to see the value they bring, from center backs to midfielders to even attackers.
The one thing I really liked about that goal as well is that you had the man at the bottom of the screen, and instead they go for that reverse ball, just taking that attention away from the opponent and saying we're going to go for that different cross. That meant that there was no man there to clear it, and the keeper had to come and clear the lines, just taking those chances.
The point then for the USA, 3 points for France, still at the top of their group after they just got the win against Finland. Sven is about to chat to the boys in bleu. How are they feeling?
Good French there, Rachel. I didn't know you were
bleu.
fluent. I think they're feeling good. I'm here with Coach Brian. So I don't know if you know this, Brian, but France now actually the only unbeaten team left in Group A and Group B, as we just saw Morocco lose that game. 14 points, 6 games down. You've got to be very happy.
Yeah, of course, very happy, but still aiming for that first place. And well, at the moment, 3 points lead, but we need more in the next game.
Last time I spoke to you yesterday, it was just after a game where you were drawing. I believe you subbed on Fuma and you ended up winning the game. The exact same thing just happened in the game you played. I think it was 0-0. Fuma came in and you won the game. Is this Coach Brian coming through with some genius here?
No, actually, Fuma is a genius. I know I can count on him. He is like very crazy player in offense, and once again he scores a goal as well. So yeah, no, very, very proud of him. And we have like no subs. I know those 3 players can play, and I think that's our strength.
Is it a tactic that we see in traditional football a lot, where you maybe have like a certain kind of attacking player that can come on and change the game and change the way you play, whereas you start maybe a little bit more tactical?
Yeah, it can mean that of course, but it also depends on the opponent as well. I think Fuma maybe have a play style who fits better against some opponents, and Diogo fits more against some others. So yeah, depends as well of the opponent.
Okay, great stuff. Keep it up. France doing very well. 14 points, most points of anyone in these 2 sessions so far, unbeaten still. They just played Finland. I'm going to go into the Finnish booth here. I've got a question for you guys, because we just obviously saw you play France. They've got the Peixoto brothers. Are you guys brothers as well?
Yeah, I think we are playing good, but we are not able to score our chances. Like France is lethal, like it's just FIFA.
Yeah, of course, it was not the best result. But just to clarify, these 2 brothers, are they related? Yeah. They are. So we had a brother versus brother battle there, Peixoto versus you guys. That's pretty cool. It must be amazing to represent your country and your family at the same time.
Yeah, it's very special because there is no many brother duos playing. So it's amazing to share this stage with my brother. It's I can hard to explain how I feel when playing with him.
It's very cool. It's very cool to see. Let's talk about your form in general now. Obviously, losing that game, unfortunately, 5 points now. Still looking for a second win. 4 games left. What's the points total?
Yeah, obviously we could have way more points now, but I'm very happy with how we played again. Like, if we keep playing like this, we will get wins for sure. Like, I think we deserved way more on that game. They only created 1 chance and they scored, and we had many almost chances. Just gotta score those goals and close out the games. But I think we will win the next one. Yeah.
Big game, big game. Best of luck, guys. Keep going. Definitely worth watching. Also, if you get a chance, just watch this booth before kickoff, because they do like a team huddle, and it's the loudest team you'll hear in the arena, the Finnish guys. So they could use a win in the next game, but we're getting closer, Rachel, to that point where these wins are really important, aren't we?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, the Finnish side, are they louder than Mike the Bell when he got the equaliser?
Yes,
there.
they are.
They are? Okay,
Yeah,
well, he was
really
pretty
loud.
loud. Obviously, we're talking about brothers there as well. Anyone else know any FIFA brothers that have played in any big tournaments?
Well, there used to be, I mean, I'm really going to date back here. There were the German twins. They used to win everything with Stylo and Hero, but we're talking 2004, 2005, 2006, if anybody wants a history lesson.
Brandon, you've got another pair.
Yeah, Rafsu and Mentz. Didn't know they were brothers until probably like 2 years down the line. But unfortunately, they're not here representing France.
So a lot of FIFA brothers have kind of come and gone, and obviously have 2 today, which is pretty lucky for us as well. But let's just recap then on the standings, because it's getting pretty close in Group B. I'm going to start with that then, because I've teed it up. France then, the only team still to go unbeaten, as Spencer just said there. Morocco then, unfortunately came unstuck, didn't they, in their first matchup against Malaysia on 11 points. Italy, 8. USA, massive point for them against the Italians, who sit above them in 3rd. Finland, 5. Malaysia, 5. Guys, there's 3 teams there on 5 points.
I'm telling you, Group B could turn into something. Not necessarily for France, and I can't see Morocco falling apart, even though their first game wasn't fantastic, but maybe the 3rd and the 4th spot could open up. And coming into today, we were really saying they're just battling for 4th, and it's going to be the US, Finland, and maybe Malaysia. But I'm not sure if Italy is secure the way that we've kind of been building throughout some of the years. The last couple of years, we would have said they are, but they showed some shakiness in the 2v2 with the E-Club.
Well, in Group A, it looks like there's a separation, doesn't it, between the top and the bottom half, just starting to emerge there. Argentina, Saudi, the Netherlands, 13, 12, 11. Then 8, 5, and 1, Denmark there, Canada, and Qatar. Well, the second round of today has just kicked off, which is actually round 7 for all these teams. It's getting close now. They have to start performing and getting points. Only 4 matches to do so. Not long left. 12 points up for grabs.
Yeah, already a change as well for the Netherlands. They hinted they may do it. Manu Bashir comes out now. It's Levi David and Emre Yilmaz stepping up to the plate, which some would argue is surprising. They won their last game 3-1. You know, why do you need to change it? But they're keen to keep on changing. I'm sure that Coach Renzo will be pushing that forward. An unchanged Abimaka and Ms. Dasari in this matchup. These 2 teams, you could argue, are pretty much safe in the top 4 as it stands right now.
Well, we teed it up over in Group A that Canada need to pick up some results if they want to try and chase that 4th spot of Denmark. Right now, they find themselves 1-0 down against the group toppers Argentina, and that is back-to-back games that Argentina, Aggie, have scored from a corner.
But we always looked at Nicolas and Matthias as well, and said when we watched them play, and knew that they were very, very specific and very, very good at executing these set pieces and corners. I always remembered Nicolas as a set piece genius, and now they're together. So it's about being innovative, and I think Argentina is masters at doing that, and it's definitely not the last corner goal we will be seeing from Argentina.
Well, if we can get there, Argentina have kicked off day 2 in fine form. There's been plenty of goals in that game. 2 goals in 9 minutes for Nicolas and Matías Bonanno.
And it's concerning. There's not many teams that would be worse to go down against, especially going down early. Canada's in a position where they need to chase. It's easy to start rushing your gameplay. As you see Malaysia with an opener against Italy.
As Mike was saying, right now, Italy have got their head just above the water. If they lose this game, they are getting dragged down into this battle for this 4th place. in the groups. Malaysia lead 1-0 against Italy.
I want to see that goal again. I think Mbappe has just shot cancelled twice on a defender and just sent them to the shops. I'll have a cornetto if he's going there.
If we can get a call out, rerun that.
It's hard on this little screen, but that looked absolutely beautiful. We'll jump over this one though, Mike.
You teased it, but this is good for Denmark here. In Group A, it's gotten to that point where everyone needs points against Qatar, and the difference between you going through and not going through could be dropping points against Qatar. I hate saying that. It sounds a little bit negative, but I just think it's the reality at this point. I don't think there's enough points on the board for Qatar. As you see the pop-off, you hear the pop-off. They stand up, they're pounds. This is big for Finland as well. And again, we're seeing Morocco now struggling back-to-back games.
Bit of news then. USA have had a pause there. They're going to restart their game. A controller issue over there. So they're a little bit behind the other teams in the arena today for their second match. Will that frustrate USA? Mike, not really at this stage?
I don't read into it. Have the reset.
I mean, I'm sure USA are looking around and seeing Finland win against Morocco, Malaysia win against Italy. Why can't we go and take a very difficult game against the only unbeaten nation left in this tour? If they do, Group B continues to get more and more spicy.
I think France might be due to drop some points.
They can.
It would be a lovely time for them to do that, dropping right here and right now. But I think they're due. I think they're due. We really don't see teams in terms of them being perfect throughout this many games, and even in the bracket stage as well. We've seen a lot of extra time, a lot of penalty kicks, surprise results, drama, ups, downs, roller coaster rides, all sorts of different activities this summer.
I mean, when we're looking at Group B now, Morocco is losing as well to Finland. Could be 3 spots off for grabs in that group for the 5 remaining teams there.
Morocco would have to fall apart though, August, because they're already on 11 points. If they get 1 win, 14 surely enough to slide out of that.
But look at the teams. They started lose to Malaysia. Now they're losing to Finland. It's 2 of the lower teams in the group when you look at the standings, right? So they'll still have to play France. They'll have to play Italy, and they'll have to play US as well. So I mean, that group is really getting tight if they were to lose this match to Finland.
Can you imagine finishing day 1 second with 11 points and not picking up any and going out? That would be tragic. Let's stay then here. Italy also need points, so don't they, in the same group we've been speaking about. Malaysia have found something. They ate something special, didn't they, for breakfast? We're going to stay with this match then for the corner. So the Italians can get back in this one.
It's on that Italy side as well. Obrun comes into this game. It's Katja that sit on the sidelines. Obrun and Danny Pipple leading up there. 8 minutes away from half-time. Malaysia starting to look like a completely different team even day 2. Let's see if we can jump across the board. So Argentina against Canada. Topped the group yesterday, did Argentina. Did speak to Nicholas and I said, Eze Correa is in your team as a 3rd player. Will he feature in day 2? He said, look, let's see how the first couple of group games go. And I'm sure Eze will get a little bit of a run out in the group stages, and as it looks right now, they're cruising.
Mr. Correa is a fantastic FIFA player, but I just can't see him actually getting into this rotation. We're dealing with, we've said it a little bit, I teased it yesterday, maybe the future Nicholas, the next Nicholas, when you're looking at Matias Madano, kind of following the exact same footsteps as well, moving over to Europe. It's wild if you think back of not this ECL, but the previous ECL, the only 2 Argentinians also both made it to the finals and obviously played against each other. It was Argentina versus Argentina with the only 2 Argentinian players in all of Europe.
Well, Mike, USA have kicked off now against France. Early doors in that matchup. 5 minutes been played as a lot of these other games go to half-time, and including this one we're on here, Argentina-Canada there. Morocco back in this one against Finland. They needed that after a disastrous start here on day 2. Should we go and see how the USA and France are getting on after we have a little replay there? Right, this is the beginning of this game. Mike, they had a little bit of a wait there, but nothing too much to look into.
The U.S. just had a good opening chance outside of the foot, kind of reverse elastico action. Good defending from France, but I'm telling you, there's going to be some confidence here. There's going to be a little more belief, especially coming off such a nasty day one. And as you talked about with August is saying, they're seeing the different results coming in. Spots are opening up. It could go from 2 spots to 3 spots, which is remarkable if that were to happen. I didn't think that's possible. I'm still maybe a little bit of a pessimist in that actually being a possibility. I haven't got to the permutations. I haven't called in Mr. Buckley, but as it stands, 3rd and 4th place, we could get to talking, we could get to discussing, we could open up that conversation, we could start pushing a certain agenda.
You think for this USA team, you mentioned how they're looking around the arena as they're waiting for their game to start, seeing how some of the games were teeing up, some of the results. Do you think that also can play a negative impact for them to say, we need to get a result here?
I don't think so, because the results around with the other games, I don't think they necessarily negatively impact the U.S. Maybe it'd be a different story if we were sitting here talking about Italy being leading, or they're dominating their matchup, even Finland dominating their matchup, something along those lines, maybe to create some degrees of separation. I think it's good to have a little bit of a flip-flop, and coming into day 2, we didn't necessarily think this would be possible, so I love a little plot twist.
Well, should we go and see how the Netherlands are getting on against Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, let's jump across to it. There's not too much to talk about in that game as we leave that one at probably a good time as France lead the USA by a goal to nil. Saudi Arabia against the Netherlands is 0-0 with nearly 2/3 of the game currently played. When they matched up yesterday, the Netherlands did win this tie, 3 goals to nil.
I'm blaming that goal on Alex. I don't know why, but it's your fault, Alex.
I apologise, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's see then what can happen here. Who's in the hot seat then for this side? Do they switch out again, Brandon, the team from the Netherlands?
Yeah, it's Levi David and Emre Yilmaz.
Okay, so there we have it. So no Manny Bashore then. He sits out the back. Just so we're keeping a close eye on that one, as will his coach, Renzo, who's Morocco then, Finland, as we jump back around the grounds. Morocco, the side that were very dominant yesterday. Finished second, didn't they? Had that big loss here. What's Mr. Dory going to make of that one?
I would argue quite surprising yesterday, Rachel, because then they conceded 4 goals across 5 games. Within 2 games so far, they've already conceded that same amount.
Yep, a new day, a new team, it looks like here.
Something you can say about Finland, the 2 brothers, Jerkos and Kosu, they've never changed out. They have got a 3rd player, but look to use it as of yet. Building up nicely is Finland. Just about defended well by Morocco.
I think for Mr. Dory as well, that conversation they had coming into this tournament of having a points tally to get rather than, okay, this is what we need to have for day 1 and day 2. It just gives you that clear picture of knowing through that group stage, these are the points that we need to have to essentially ensure that we're going through. Because they had that such good day 1, picking up a point here against Finland will still do enough just to say, yeah, we can keep doing what we're doing, we'll find those results and trickle through. However, we were speaking to him yesterday, Brandon. He mentioned they want to top this group purely because Group D, they're a little bit fearful about who they might play in that round of 16.
And the magic number in Group B, I would say, is about 13 points. 13, you're safe. You might even be able to move that into maybe a 3rd position. I don't think you'll be in the top 2.
So Morocco then need 1 more win if Mike's calculations are anything to go by.
Well, couple draws would work too.
Back to then the USA taking on France. We did leave that, didn't we, when France just got that opening goal here. France, of course, in the blue. USA just troubling them a little bit out there on the left. Mike?
Love for the US to get something by half. Just change the game a little bit. I'm telling you, it's France's time to drop some points today. They've been nearly perfect. Perfect! Oh, come on! Blessed by the commentator. We always talk about the curse of the commentator. 2-2 just before half, just as we planned it.
Is
you see, Lamps said, calm down, we're good.
Is Lamps your captain, Mike?
Absolutely.
Is he a very vocal player outside of FIFA? What is he like as a captain?
In general, he's an opinionated FIFA player. You get a different types of players. Actually, if you're looking for a UK comparison, maybe a Stingray. I almost feel as if Anders is his own person. He kind of falls into maybe the text category as well, where they're going to give you some reactions, they give you some takeaways. If you interview him at the right time and the right moment, you might get a quote or two.
And CJ then happy just to sit back and let Lamps do the talking?
CJ's definitely more of the, I don't know if I want to say politically correct, but it would be rare to hear him say anything negative about anything. From a gameplay perspective to a personal side, it's just really not in his 101, his branding, his DNA. But Lamps would be a little bit of a wild card. But we like that.
I'd really love you, Mike, to break down that goal for us later on.
I'll be happy to do that. If you guys are here on the back end, we've already had a couple big USA goals. I'd love to take them to the telestrator, the breakdown board. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I've got the right energy for it, especially if we keep carrying on. Maybe an upset against France here.
The host nation then, Saudi Arabia. Still can't find anything past. Oh, there we go, have it. The Netherlands, they couldn't find anything past the Netherlands. Went the other way, didn't it, Aggie?
Yeah, they're definitely starting to play some very, very nice FIFA Netherlands. And I think with this win, potentially, they're definitely through together with Argentina. And then Saudi Arabia, Denmark, and Canada will play for the last two spots. I feel like Saudi Arabia is getting close as well, but again, it's going to come down to Canada if they can make a surprising result against one of the big guys.
It's not looking like that right now. They're down 3-0. And I was actually going to say with Group A, and this does apply to multiple groups, but specifically with Group A, I feel as if we're getting a preview for potentially late-stage matchups. When you're looking at Argentina, you're looking at Saudi, you're looking at Netherlands, maybe Denmark if they can get in sync. I know August has stayed very optimistic over there and positive. They've got the players, they've got the capabilities, but some of the teamwork could be a little more questionable. From the defensive steps to some of the offensive movement, if you're really dialed into it, there's a little bit of some hesitation, some key moments.
Argentina, you just saw it very quickly there. They only scored 5 goals yesterday. Already today, been a very different Argentinian side. That's 6 goals they've registered in 2 days. Matthias Pinaro and Nicholas just had a good sleep, Alex?
It's an Argentinian side that we sat here yesterday on the couch saying they might not top the group. They're normally better when they get through to that 2 legs of FIFA. Now they're just saying, look, we're here. We want to score goals, show you something different. And yeah, maybe a big sleep, big breakfast. Back over to the Saudi Arabia-Netherlands game. Question for you, Aggie. Do you think this Netherlands team in Group A and Group B is probably the most talented 3 individuals on one team together?
I think so. I mean, when I'm comparing all the teams, I would say, especially when you're also looking over the last 3 years, you also have Levy, who's been extremely dominant. He didn't have as good of a 1v1 season this year, but the other years he's definitely been up there as one of the best, if not the best. Then you have the likes of Emre Yilmaz, who we will consider as a favorite also for next week. And you also have Manu, who's one of the biggest talent, who was also at the World Cup last year. So, I mean, I will agree and say yes, that is definitely.
I would like to make some counter arguments, if you will, if you'd allow it.
Love it.
I would also argue that Argentina's in that conversation. Correa's fantastic. You got the likes of Matias, you got the likes of Nicholas. Can't tell me that's not a strong 3-piece. I would also argue for Brazil. Palinetto, Resende, PH Zin, the previous world champions in this competition. I would like to just insert their name in there, if I may.
Of course, still backing the Netherlands here. Just looking at like titles, qualifications for E-World Cups, etc.
And this season as well, 2 players in the E-World Cup, right? They're going to be on form. I think this is Netherlands' best chance to go far in this tournament because for some reason they always struggle to get past the round of 16 in the last 2 times they've competed.
Well, Qatar and the Netherlands matchup just finished. The Netherlands taking that one. Sorry, Denmark taking that one 1-0. Aggie, a question as well. Do you think a lot of players prefer playing 2v2 because they have that team element to it, opposed to 1v1 when they're just on their own? It's all down to them.
I think it's very mixed between the players. I think they prefer both in different ways, really. I don't think there's just one right answer here, because a lot of the players also thinks about their own ambitions, so to speak, and it means a lot as well to win the 1v1 and and often you speak about the FIFA World Cup as the major competition of the 3 majors, while on the other hand, you also have some players who values 2v2 extra. So I don't think there's like a specific correct answer to that.
Big goal you just saw going there from Italy. 89th minute, Vinicius Junior. There was a change actually in the game as well. Kachi is subbed in for Danny Pitbull mid-game. And that point just does so much for them, because if Malaysia got the 3, they suddenly come into the conversation. That point there just puts Italy on 9. It just keeps them still contention for staying out of the running race for that 4th spot. This game, though, could be a massive point for the USA.
There's a draw in that one as well. As the Italy-Malaysia game, a lot of the results in Group B sharing the points, which again isn't great for Group B at all, as we say with this one, where points definitely weren't shared there. Argentina 4 goals. Brandon said they didn't score many yesterday. Scored 4 in that. Was it 5 yesterday total, Brandon? And they've already scored 4 in that one there today.
I think they scored 8 in the first 2 games, Argentina. Remarkable.
Looking very different today, aren't they? Nicholas and Matthias Bonanno, big win for them. They are the front runners in that Group A alongside the Netherlands at the moment.
Yeah, scored 8 Aggie and conceded just 1. And that was to your boys.
Impressive, and I mean, you always expect Argentina to do that well, but it's just not that easy to replicate it tournament after tournament. But Nicolas and Bonanno, I mean, if we were to look at just the 2 players, not to take anything away from the 3rd player, it would definitely be up there as probably the best team, just to add on to that conversation we had, Mike.
It's tricky when you deal with criteria. Are we looking at all-time greats? Are we looking at the best in form that we've seen this year? Are we just going off the last 2 years, the last 3 years? You tell me, and then I can answer these questions properly. Because when you're looking at some of the all-time greats, we got those guys into action. We got Hall of Famers in action. They're going to be joining August at some point when their career is in the rafters.
10 minutes to go. Mike said France.
This has been intense for me, okay? This has been intense.
Mike
Watch
said
it,
France
watch
should drop
it.
some points.
Stop it, Rachel.
We have there's 10 minutes, Mike. Come on, we've got time. I mean for you boys. I feel Mike doesn't want to commentate over this in case it's the curse off the commentator. He's shaking his head. He's getting very nervous about this one. I won't go to him. Alex, I'll go to you instead.
I'm just eager, because I think if you get a winner here,
it's group deciding.
This
it's group deciding. Yes, and the sofa's going. Nobody's safe.
I'm going to help you out here, Mike. France has been amazing so far in this competition.
Thank you. Thank you.
And,
keep going, August.
I mean, we were looking at. I would like to suggest a nickname. I would like to suggest a nickname for France coach Brian.
Professor.
Le Professeur.
Aha.
Like it.
We called Arsene Wenger that in
Doesn't
Arsenal.
he look like he'd be a French instructor? No? Okay, you gave me
But
the
you like the French names, so I mean, surely you can approve.
I'm with it. I think it's a good cosign.
It is all France, though, knocking on the door with 3 minutes remaining, working that on the edge of the box. Mbappe, reverse elastico.
Woo! Come on! Woo! Didn't know I was cheering for the post today, but that's where we're heading. Even 1 point is good for the U.S. in this result, because everybody else has to go through France. Oh, is that going to be the curse?
I think that might be.
Oh, no.
The US giving the ball back over to France and saying, it is your last attack. It is time for France to do something, but I think, dependent.
Seconds.
Literally seconds.
They're going to remain unbeaten still. France, they're going to have another winner to the tally. What's the save?
It's all right, Mike. Survive this corner.
Stop it. Stop it.
Corner played short. France need to defend this USA. Big win.
All right, we're good. We're good. Out of there. Out of there. Thank you. Okay. And we move.
It's a big point, but all the other teams drew as well, so they all got big points there, Mike. I hate
but they
to say
didn't
it.
draw against France.
I hate to, but yeah, just be the negative Nelly in the camp here. But USA, yeah, they take a point, as do Finland and as do Malaysia. Anyway, let's move on then from that, shall we? Because obviously we've played 7 matches so far. Spen's down there, ready to speak to the boys from the USA, who Mike will be eager to hear their thoughts after that one.
Yes, I'm here in the USA camp. 2 draws there in opening first 2 games. How you feeling?
It's a tough one. I think we were the better team in this game. They played well, but I feel like it's 2 points drop for us. I can't lie.
It still feels like a marked improvement from yesterday, doesn't it? I mean, France, for example, who just played there, they're the only unbeaten team left in the tournament. You lost to them yesterday. You also drew with Italy, who you also lost to yesterday. So there are improvements, Lamps.
Yeah, of course. I mean, France and Italy are probably the 2 favorite teams in the group that have undeniable individual quality, and especially with Fuma, who's one of the best 2v2 players. It's hard, so we take the 2 points. We could have probably won this game, Italy as well, but we have 3 more games to get us through the group.
And you've got 3 teams level on 6 points, and you've got to play both of them in Malaysia and Finland coming up. Simple case of win those games and you go through, right?
As you said, win, we qualify. Lose, we don't. Let's do it.
Keep your eye on it. That is Team USA. Best of luck to you, gents. I'm going to go through this way now, talk to the guys from Morocco, who were, for me, one of the standout performances from yesterday. Obviously unbeaten in their first 5 games, but lost the first game today, followed that up with a draw. What's changed?
I think we're in a new tournament again, once again. Every day is different, and every day you should go give it your all. The first game we lost, it was a bit of nerves. The first game, of course, once again of a new day. Maybe not being warmed up completely. We made a substitution in that game too. Eamon went out and we put Edem in instead. They did solid, I think, for a substitution. So the draw against Finland, I think it's a little bit in their luck. They scored a corner. For the rest, they didn't really have any chances. And we scored 100% made goal. We were almost celebrating, and it just went to the wrong side of the post, so all good.
You said yesterday your aim was to show improvements. You know, last time out, not getting out the group stage, this time to get out. You're in a very good position to do that. You're 3 points behind France, who are leading the group, but you've got a 3-point lead on 3rd position. Would you take 2nd place now, or are you still very much aiming for top?
We're always aiming for the top, and if we win the last game against France, if it stays like this, we take the lead over them based on the head-to-head result that we have. So nothing is played in this group. Even the 4th, 5th, and 6th, I think, even can still make it out. So we're all good, we're chilling, and we just go with the flow and try to get some points on the board.
Fantastic stuff. Best of luck in your next few games. That's obviously 2 teams from Group B. That group's a lot more open for me right now than Group A, which I think it's not over, but it seems like we know who the 4 teams are going to be, I think, Rachel.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Mr. Dory there, very cool, wasn't he? Cool as you like, just speaking to Spencer about the team's chances. Nothing to worry about just yet. He said he kind of thinks it's a new tournament, a new day, and coming in a little bit nervous on day 2. Aggie, should the nerves have been put to the side already after playing 5 games yesterday? Do you expect the Moroccans to be nervous here on day 2?
In the first game, you're always going to have those nerves. I think it's pretty natural. So I can accept that, kind of, so to speak. But I think after that, you're just going to go for it. And I think the results showed it as well. I like the confidence there, almost speaking as Morocco was through the groups and they were thinking about just beating France to win the group. I think they still have some work to do, some tough games coming up, so they have to be ready, and the nerves have to be almost gone.
Mike, we heard from the USA as well, they just got to win, simple as that.
And I agree with their analysis in that matchup as well. I think they outplayed France in terms of some key opportunities. I was very much so dialed on that game, even as we had a lot rotating through the main games that were live on stream. And it's good. You can build from that. And I think the best case scenario here is that you get to control your outcome. You get to control your future. They're going up against Malaysia. They're going up against Finland. If you win those games, you get positive results. You see it out. And a lot of times you aren't gifted that. You need different scenarios to go for you. I need a draw here, I need a loss there, and then I have to win. This is not the situation. You control it. Shake my hand. You've done a good job to get to this point. Now let's go get this something positive insert there. I was going to go get this this trophy, get these points. We need more on the board.
Go and get a knockout spot. Go and get a knockout spot because it's still very much for Team USA to take. Well, like Spencer mentioned then, Group A kind of looks like we've already got our top 4. I know it's early to call. We've got 9 points still to play for, 3 more matches, but Argentina, they're through. We're going to say they've gone. Netherlands, Saudi, and Denmark. Very much now, they look like the teams to go through. Canada are the team that will be trying to knock them out. Mathematically, Qatar, there's only 9 points there. They can't actually beat Denmark to that spot. So unfortunately, they're out of it now. Whereas Group B, it's a little bit tighter, isn't it? France and Morocco. Well, Morocco think they're through. Maybe you don't call that just yet. Whereas Italy, USA, Finland and Malaysia. Look at the bottom three there. It's so tight, Brandon.
No, absolutely. I think, look, this next round will cement a lot of potential storylines. Morocco beat Italy. I think that we can just sit here and obviously say France, Morocco, you are through. What the USA do against Finland is big, and then Malaysia up against France. There could be some late movers here, but that fourth place still up for grabs.
Do you feel, though, Mike, because Qatar now are taking on Canada, the bottom two in Group A. Qatar now, they can't go through. They're playing freely. Do they just go to try and spice up that group? Do they know that? Do they feel that?
I'm still playing for wins if I'm Qatar, and we'll see how that plays out. It's up to Canada to kind of take that result. And I actually think the biggest takeaway when you look at the results there that were on screen is that there's three teams that really stand out of being another notch above. You've got the likes of Argentina, you got the likes of Netherlands. Look at the goal difference as well, the separation. They're able to score, they're not conceding, and they're starting to separate themselves from other teams. And then on the other end as well, I think France is in that same category. Similar story, very high levels of consistency, and I would not want to see any of those teams in now a best of two, or you're looking at the aggregate score lines where you got to go through those two legs.
We did see that last year as well, didn't we? Brazilians had a really bad day one, came back through, never topped the table, Mike, and the same actually goes for Italy, and they were semi-finalists last year. So you can't always look at the people at the top. I know in this instance we're, going to probably be pretty negative to not back Argentina with, what have they got, 16 points there, but like Mr. Dory said, today's a new tournament. You never know how it's going to go tomorrow.
And I love a stat and a metric, and I still look back at the E Club. From the beginning, RB Leipzig looked good, and they ended up looking good in day 2 and day 3 and day 4, and they lifted the trophy. And I'm going to take that same sort of logic here when I'm seeing consistency, I'm seeing goal difference, I'm seeing good defense, good offense, set pieces, just certain movements, micromanaging. It shows that you practice specifically for this event and everything's clicking. If you're able to do it on back-to-back days, why not carry that onward?
Well, can the Netherlands then get a result against Argentina, who are sitting at the top of that table? That's the big game, in my opinion, here as well, between those two sides. Alex, I'm going to come to you for this one. Netherlands have got to get a few results now.
Yeah, Netherlands got to get a few results just to kind of go for seeding and give themselves that best possible chance going into the knockout stages. But also, as you said, we mentioned with Denmark, and is there a possible chance? Anders said they're going to get grouped. It looks very difficult for Canada to do anything, really, in that side of things. You'd need results going elsewhere for you. It is pretty much now for that top 4 in Group A, all about who can get first, second, third and fourth, and just have that seeding position.
Well, I teed this one up. Should we go and see that game? The Netherlands, Argentina. Argentina at the moment have had 2 great matches to start day 2. Nicholas there and Matthias Bonanno. And Mike, wasn't it last year? The Nicholas was close to saying he was going to retire. If he wins this here, this week on Friday, would that be enough in his locker? If
he gets a FIFA E World Cup, I think the retirement conversation starts to resurface. I think he wants that, he needs that. It's part of that legacy. When you say you're all done with FIFA, if you have that under your belt, at least one of them, you feel like you accomplished something really special. You were unique, and you could walk away and say, undisputed, you're the best FIFA player in the world for that year. August has had that lovely claim for a year. The right to the claim.
He kind of needs that as well. I would hate to see Nicholas retire without this massive accolade next to his name.
I don't think he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't go about a big trophy, whether it's this one or whether it's maybe next week. I've got something to throw in there. I think Argentina last year on paper were better than this year. Better seasons last year. E-Champions League winner, both made E-World Cup last year. Matthias Bonanno, yes, won the La Liga this year, but has not been as good as he was last year.
Well, that's why they're more motivated then.
Well, I think it's clear.
Because they haven't had a good as year.
To Brandon's point, I think it's very clear when you look at Matthias Bonanno's 2v2 success, the fact that not only the E-Champions League, but they played against each other in the finals of the E-Champions League, and then a tag team duo from last year. And sometimes, I think with them maybe not having the same type of year, they're even more focused on this competition, though. It does motivate you, and we know FIFA can be very harsh, very cruel. You don't take those chances, you don't create those margins, and that's the separation as we see Canada, Qatar. We talked about Canada needing this finesse shot, open up your body, back corner, 1-0. And I do have a little bit of a mathematical equation for all of you. Canada, if they were to win out, they're on 5 points now, 9 points available for them. They'd be on 14 points. Netherlands, Argentina are going to be out of reach. So now it comes down to what's Saudi doing and what's Denmark doing. Because Denmark comes in with 11 points, Saudi with 12. You need some help.
Well, right now, Denmark, the other team in red, are finding themselves 1 to the good against Saudi Arabia. We saw the result from Saudi Arabia yesterday with Denmark. beating them comfortably. We jump over into this game, Mike.
Come on then. Yeah, you love a little near post. Goalkeeper movement gone wrong. 15th minute, Mbappe, he salutes, I salute. The Americans are starting to make that dream a reality.
A question for you, Mike. If you're the US, if you got told, if you beat Finland and Malaysia going into this tournament, you're going to guarantee yourself through to that knockout stage, you take that, right?
That all day. You take that.
Yeah, and we just saw, I just saw an incredible goal over here. And it's for the home soil favorites here, Saudi Arabia.
Do we dare to say who it came against?
It was against Denmark. I'm not too biased to credit other nations as well, and can't wait to all of you watch the goal because it's really, really good, and I know that Mike is going to enjoy it, Alex is going to enjoy the goal as well. So many nice details in it, so hopefully we'll get to see that goal in just a second.
Yeah, as we're saying, as Aggie was saying, there's been 2 goals in that game. 20 minutes in, Denmark against Saudi Arabia. When we can see the highlights from Group A, we'll do it right now. What a goal it was.
Well, this is that comeback then, isn't it, from Saudi Arabia? They're the home side, just to get them very much back in it against the Danes there. This is a massive game, isn't it? Third taking on fourth. Not much between these two here.
Just sat him down, Alex, didn't he?
That defender went flying. Absolutely flying. The shimmy back on to that near post. And there's a lot of roars going around the arena. We'll find out where that goal has come in just a second.
Well, I think it's a goal that could mean potential qualification in Group B. Italy against Morocco. Which way has the goal gone? Morocco slowly picking up some form. Finland back in this one. They're still in the hunt for that 4th place in Group B. This is the other goal that we saw as we were talking about. Italy, Morocco. It's Morocco. They've opened up the account here, 30 minutes on the clock. You heard that massive roar.
Lovely body feint, extra pass, near post finish. Morocco taps it home. And again, this leaves the door wide open. If Morocco beats Italy, Italy stays on 9 points. You got the Finland-USA matchup. We're watching Malaysia close to see what happens in that, how that kind of unfolds. But this group has gotten very shifty. Canada
as well have got another goal in their matchup against Qatar. 2 goals now. 2-0 that result would take them to 8 points. Still wouldn't get them in the top 4, but just closes that gap slightly.
And all Canada have got to do in this game is pick up those 3 points and give yourself that chance going into the last 2 games in that group. Right now they're delivering on the side that they want, and this was the equaliser for Finland. A massive roar from that camp. Defenders just couldn't clear their lines, couldn't sort their feet out. Finland pounced on it. Henry strikes them back to all level.
And something that's massively important here for Canada is that their last 2 games, one of them is against Denmark, and the following game is against Saudi Arabia. So these are the teams that someone would need to be surpassed in order to take that position. So they might have a little more input and power as to where those points get spread and where they're allocated or points missed.
So this game we're seeing right now, Denmark, Saudi Arabia, for Canada, if you want a chance, a draw here would be better for them. Is that right?
Correct, because that would leave Saudi on 13, Denmark on 12. They're still going to need help. At the end of the day, Canada can't just win out. It does come down to those results, but the fact that they also play Denmark and Saudi, at least you can control those games in theory because you're going to need the victory anyway.
One thing worth mentioning as well is that Canada and Denmark drew yesterday. So head-to-head, if then Canada were to beat Denmark, Canada would surpass them, while Canada lost to Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Canada is rooting for Saudi Arabia in their match against Denmark right now. And just as we speak about it, Saudi Arabia on 2-1. And with a win here for Saudi Arabia, they also confirmed their spot in the last 16. So a vital match right here. And Denmark really is feeling the pressure now. This is their time to show what they're made of.
There's 2 stories here, isn't it? Italy maybe falling down into a difficult place, and as you're saying, Aga, Denmark, they do not pick up results. It's not looking good for those guys. Netherlands 0, Argentina 0 when this match took place yesterday. It was a 0-0. So I hope we're going to see at least 1 goal in it.
And it's also at halftime for Finland in the US, currently tied 1-1. Surely a goal. Yes, indeed. And Netherlands, another day in the office. Again, this is really more of a showcase matchup with Netherlands and Argentina. It won't necessarily impact them going through. They're both going to secure that spot, and it comes down to maybe who's in better form, who's really the best between the two. It's just watching high-level, informed teams with some of the best players in the world. But what I was going to say in the U.S. and the Finland game is that a draw I don't think helps either of them. It's just not ideal. We talk about it a lot with Rich, but draws are deadly. Deadly draws.
At some point, you've got to start winning. And this was that goal come back. Henry, I mentioned it yesterday, time and time again. His item just on that left-hand side, on that left foot, he finds the back of the net. Time and time again. I'd love a partnership with Henry and R9 up front. Wouldn't you?
I'm just happy that this Henry came into FIFA 23 and really made such a difference. It's been multiple years since we've seen him in any sort of rotation. If you date back, we used him up front, FIFA 17, FIFA 18, he ended up being some sort of unorthodox center mid, and then he vanished. He was ghosted until this new iteration, as you see Finland pop off. And of course, when I start talking, this is what seems to happen. The U.S. concedes, and this is a massive game. I don't know that the U.S. can drop points against Finland and talk when you're looking at losing, because it not only is a loss there, but it allows Finland to kind of jump.
Yeah, Finland then looking to jump over the USA. If that result stays as it is, unfortunately, they'd go to 9 and the USA would sit on 6. And this, though, does affect that result as well, because they just get 1 point each. These two teams are also in the same group, which is Group B here. France just kind of fallen off a little bit in the last 2 matchups there. Maybe again they kind of go, well, I think I'm through. I've got 15 points. I kind of can take my foot off the pedal and just have a little bit of rotation, try out a few things, Brandon.
They can put the controller down, France. They're through. Regardless, I think, of what happens in these next few games, they are through. No matter what happens, anything, it's a big game for Malaysia. But back to that game that we said, Finland, USA, that game cannot afford to be a draw for either team. Has to be a big 3 points for either of those sides. We jump around Canada. We said that they can still be in the conversation. They're scoring goals, which might help their goal difference tally if needed. They've just found a third against Qatar. See the build up there, a little extra pass, finds the ongoing runner. That's 55 minutes on the clock. Canada leading against Qatar, who unfortunately are struggling to put up a fight. Over to this game now, Saudi Arabia against Denmark. There is an attack for Denmark if he's onside, he's not.
I think just a draw for Denmark makes a huge difference, just to have that gap on 4 points and not 3. So they could actually afford to lose that head-to-head matchup with Canada potentially. So they're going to be chasing that, while Saudi Arabia just want to get that extra goal to secure their place in the knockout. But overall, super, super tight in both groups, and especially Group B, where we still don't know who's going to join France.
France to Saudi to find a third. Ended well by Denmark. Let's jump over to another game if we can. We'll give you the latest in Finland against the USA. No doubt that is the biggest game of the round so far. Finland still in front, 2-1 after being 1-0 down in this tie. Pause has been cued by the US.
Talking about that Denmark side as well, Aggie, there. Obviously, Anders last week was so used to winning and kind of coming through, not with ease, but they always found a way through. Of course they did, because they became the world champions. It's a very different week this week. He's kind of on the back foot. How does he mentally deal with that?
I think it's really tough, obviously, also for him to... We talk about the players have to adapt to Anders' playstyle, but Anders still have to adapt to to 2 players as well, coming from Umut in Leipzig. So it's also really complicated for him, and it's hard and requires a lot. He obviously also had to dig deep in the E-Club World Cup, so there's a lot of challenges as well for him. And I mean, right now it looks like something is not clicking for Denmark. They have to solve that ASAP.
A lot to ask for the 17-year-old, and even at the beginning of this week he said he was one of the best teams with Denmark. It hasn't played out that way at the moment. Still a long way to go. If they can just get through, tomorrow is very different. 2 legs, much more time to find something that really works for that Danish side.
Oh, come on.
Sticking with this one, Mike's on the edge of his seat, literally here.
Take that.
I've realised that Mike cannot talk and commentate his own nation here.
Dialed in.
Penalty. We have a penalty over in Group A. If we can check into the game and see which way it went, and if it did go into the back of the net. Netherlands against Argentina. Argentina were 1-0 up in the game. Get a replay on it. We'll see what has happened here. So it's Netherlands that are on the break. It looked to be a finish. Looks very actually unfortunate that Rafael Varane has got into the book there. Chance to equalise the game for the Netherlands. Manu Bachort and Levi de Veer, the two in action now. They do equalise and make that 1-1.
That's 3 penalties that Argentina have given away in this group stage so far. We saw it on day 1 in their first game, 2 in one game, another one there as well. A little bit soft either way. Netherlands say thank you very much. We'll find ourselves back into the game with that. And I think if you are going to concede a few penalties, probably one of the best duos at dealing with that in the game is probably the Argentinian side of Nicolas and Matheus Bonano.
Yeah, they're both made of something special, very calm players. And at the same time, slightly different in terms of celebrations and stuff. I mean, Bonano is a bit more verbal and a bit more showing emotions, while Nicolas, the Iceman, is maybe celebrating a bit more inside of him and just trying to not reveal anything while playing.
We didn't hold back yesterday when I spoke to Nicolas. I went, who gave away the penalties? It was when Matthias.
Straight up.
Literally, straight up. But aside from that, they've been a lot better today.
Things get kind of complicated, actually, for Denmark, potentially. I mean, it depends what happens here. If you lose versus Saudi, let's say Canada also beats Denmark, their final game is against Netherlands. If you don't get something out of that, there could be a scenario where Denmark doesn't make the bracket stage. There's a lot of what-ifs here, but it's all possible.
It's all going to come down to that head-to-head. If Saudi Arabia would beat Denmark here.
A game that's even more important. This looks like it's going to be a 0-0. I think we can say France, we know already, are going through. Malaysia needed more than a point from that one. Italy against Morocco. Just to quickly check in, because there has been a goal in Netherlands against Argentina as well. Checking into this one, because if Morocco win this, they now pull away. And now Italy is still going to be in that rat race between the 4 nations for the 3rd and 4th place. We'll leave this one quickly. Let's go to Netherlands against Argentina. We know the Netherlands equalised the game at 1-1. There was another goal in it. We can see which way it went. Or Italy going to try and score now? Big tackle at the back from Morocco.
What a challenge there for Morocco. Looked like the back of the net was going to ripple. And this is Finland extending their lead against the US in the 89th minute. That is going to be game, set and match there. Pull with the easiest finish of his life.
I'm telling you, this Group B gets complicated. That's a bad drop from the U.S. to not get anything out of that. And maybe even more importantly, the fact that, again, Finland gets those points, allows them to step right in front. You also have the head-to-head and a positive move now for Finland if it comes down to some sort of tally of points being even. We've seen a lot of different debates with that.
And Malaysia haven't lost today. They just got the draw against France there, former world champions. They got a big win earlier on. They've had two draws and a win today of the team from Malaysia. They beat Morocco, who everyone was talking about yesterday. So they are very much in with a chance at qualifying as they jump up to 4th as well after that victory, after that draw.
And they've got to be watching this Morocco-Italy game. It's the last attack here. It's the 90th minute. If this stays 1-1, I think that, again, leaves the group wide open, but we got Italy probing.
Chance. Italy! What a save. Going to do us all not. One more corner to be played. Just look at Italy's result. Every game they've played today, they have drawn. You just saw the goal from Argentina there. As we look to close this one out as well. Italy against Morocco has got one chance left, and we can join it now. There's a corner to be played. Live right now, that corner comes in. It will be defended by Morocco, and that'll be a point shed. Italy today, 3 points from 9 games, has not been good enough.
Correct. I mean, they're sitting at 10 total points now. Finland's moved up to 9. The U.S. is at 6. Malaysia's at 7. everyone's kind of still in target distance where you can make something shift here, where again, it's not just battling for that 4th position. I'd go on record here to say France and Morocco have done enough. They've secured their position, and you're going to see a big update here. August stood up, he smiled, his hand was moving, his left foot was twitching. You see that left foot twitch, I know something good has happened.
Well, Aggie, I'll tee you up for it now. There was a red card in the game. Saudi Arabia down to 10 men, then this happened.
Yeah, just Denmark applying the last pressure here in order to get back and succeed with it. A crucial goal for them, which changes the scenario a lot and also lowers the pressure on them going into the match against Canada.
Yeah, Canada still needs to win, as we've been talking about. If they were to beat Denmark, it would put them on 11 points, Denmark on 12 points, Saudi, of course, on 13 points. And again, the same situation or scenario where we're going to be adding up, are they going to draw here? What's going to happen in that other game? And the reality is, and I'll just reiterate because it's important, Canada's next game is against Denmark and their last game being up against Saudi.
Oh, massive equaliser from the Netherlands there. Mani Bashir and Emre Yilmaz finding an all-important equaliser against Nicholas and Matthias Banana. About 5 minutes left in that one.
I'm saying these draws have been quite exciting because it makes the table even more exciting as we go into these vital final 2 fixtures here, especially in Group B. It's getting very, very tight. For the Netherlands and Argentina, I believe that's the only game still underway here. 2-2 at the moment between 1 and 2 in Group A. Having a couple of conversations there, Levy and Mani Bashir. Sorry, Yilmaz and Mani Bashir. Levy's jumped out. Renzo's very much chatting to them there, Alex, from behind. Lots of hand movements.
Yeah, lots of conversations there going on between the players. Coach Renzo as well. I'm just very impressed with this Netherlands side. They've not dropped a game today.
It was a half-time sub that was made in the game. Levy David comes out for Emre Yilmaz. But looking across the board, Alex, in terms of their results today, look, from top to bottom, Netherlands won 3-1 against Canada game 1. A big 1-0 win against Saudi Arabia. And as you said, right now, they're on for a 2-2 draw.
Which, going
7
undefeated.
points from 9.
Yeah.
I think they're quietly going about their business. And I don't think we've maybe hyped them up enough.
Especially with the constant rotations as well between those players that we've seen. Renzo is happy to change here and there when needed. He said it yesterday in that interview. If someone's made a mistake or someone's not playing to the level that they know they are capable of, that's fine. We'll change them. They're all aware of that.
Franks have had quite a long time here on this pause as well. Suggests that both sides are possibly making some changes. They want to make a statement with a possible win here as well, because it does send a statement to everybody playing, doesn't it? Whoever kind of tops this table, Argentina or the Netherlands, people start to look at them, don't they?
Yeah, I think we're looking at these 2 teams and say, okay, this could be a potential final as well. I mean, definitely two teams you would consider being in the top 4 at least. So, yeah, a bit of a statement game right there.
Oh. It's a late red card. It won't mean much, to be honest, unless it was in a dangerous area. Just looking as well, Group A, as far as we know, will be playing Group C. And what we saw in Group C yesterday, Spain and Portugal were 5th and 6th. There's a very good chance that that table could change around if Singapore and Australia were to have a slight dip in form. I mean, you can top the group all you want. You might have to play against Portugal or Spain.
Well, we've got a tiny amount of time to be played in that game, I believe. Is it?
Well, when they played yesterday, at least it was 0-0 yesterday. We've had 4 goals today. It's been a little bit more exciting, to say the least.
But it does show that nothing can separate these 2 powerhouse FIFA nations. We saw yesterday, though, even the smallest amount of time can make the difference, and that was the Hollywood Fnatic game. It was already in extra time when there was this big pause, and they came back, and it was Hollywood who found a very last-minute goal to send them through to the quarterfinals.
Well then, last chance of the game. Argentina will get it. How good they've looked today. Full of goals and full of results. And in time of 2 minutes has been fulfilled. Is there a way to manoeuvre this ball through the box still? No, there will not be. Full time. Or not. Have we gone back for a free kick there? I don't know why they're off their seat then, too. Got about 10 seconds in game still to play. However, yeah, job done. Finish, round 3 concluded.
I can say maybe they wanted to settle there for 1 point. I don't know, but it was quite a different rankings, wasn't it, with them as well? Argentina, I believe, a 3rd, and Netherlands a 19th coming into that. So on paper, Argentina are the better side, but nothing's separated them twice over the course of the last 2 days. Let's just confirm those results then. Denmark and Saudi shared the points 2-2 there. Canada, big result. They were sitting in 5th going into that against the Qatar side, who was 6th, 3-0. And then shared points again at the bottom between Netherlands and Argentina. We just saw that one. Looked like the Argentinian boys just got out there before the full-time whistle was blown. I'm sure they thought it had finished. Well, Group B then. 2 draws in this one. Italy, Morocco, 1-1. France and Malaysia, 0-0 there. Malaysia very much back in this one. Finland 3, USA 1. We thought the team from America were going to get back in that. Not to be, unfortunately, there. But Group A then, kind of looks like it's almost done. The Danish side, though, 12 points after the fixtures today. They're sitting in 4th. A lot of work, actually, still to be done from that side, which does include Anders, the world champion from last week, Spen. How are they feeling? They're in that drop zone, aren't they?
Well, this booth doesn't include Anders right now. He's gone on for some refreshments, but we've got 2 of his teammates here, Uston and Marcuso. How important was that draw you just got there? Because if you hadn't have got it, obviously you've got to play Canada still. If they were to beat you, they would have been level on points of view. It would have been a little bit dangerous going into the final game.
Yeah, it was very important. If we lost here, I think we will be a little bit nervous, to be honest. But yeah, now we scored in the 90th minute, luckily, and very lucky goal. And yeah, just one more draw or one more win. Like, we always play to win, so yeah, it doesn't matter.
Marcuso, how's it been going for you so far? Sitting 4th in a very difficult group. We talked about it as the group of death. You know, the main job is just getting out of the group. That's the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It has been some very tight games. We concede a lot of corner kicks, so we have to work on that. But of course, the next game against Canada is a very important game. Make or break.
Make or break, you heard it from the man himself. Let's take a little walk now and see who else we can talk to. I want to see if I can grab a word with some of the Italians, if possible. Let's come in here. It's the Italian booth. They've just drawn, actually, all of their 3 opening games so far. How are you feeling?
It's difficult. Every group is so hard. I think that every year the Nations Cup is harder, and we try to do our best, like every time.
We've seen a lot of teams in these tournaments struggle if they draw too many games, not picking up those wins. What have you got to do to change these draws to wins?
I don't know, maybe we have choked too many chances in the last meters. And every time in this game, when you choke one chance, they have another chance. So we have tried to be more clinical, and I think that in these 2 matches we will do.
You're sitting in 3rd in the group right now, but you've got Finland breathing down your neck, only 1 point between you and them. Would you take 3rd place now if it was offered to you, or are you aiming higher?
Yeah, now we have to do some points. We want to finish at least 3rd, and we have two games. We are confident.
2 big games coming up for Italy. 2 big games coming for pretty much every team. This is make or break time. It's almost elimination football, Rachel, isn't it?
Well, it is, and this is when things get really exciting. This is when I love watching all the matches, because you never know who's going to go through. Massive 2 fixtures coming your way. So we're having a break now. We always do, don't we, between the 3rd and 4th matchup of the day. Just a chance for a bit of a refreshment for some of the players and a toilet break as well. Well, let's have a look then at B fixtures coming up. So this is where you have to keep your eye on all the other results as well, because it's not possibly just down to what you can do. So Morocco taking on USA, that's 2nd taking on bottom of the table here. It's really, really close though between 4th, 5th and 6th. And you've got Malaysia, they're in 5th. They've had a good day so far. They've had a win and 2 draws. They are taking on Finland, who sit just above them, 2 points above them. Then Italy take on France.
Go Group A.
France, we think, are through. They're in 16. Italy, though, sit third with 10 points. And this is Group A. So you've got the Saudi Arabian side. They're taking on Argentina, who sit top of the table. Saudi then in third position. Qatar, I'm afraid to say they're out of it. They're out of it in the last round as well. They're taking on the Netherlands, who sit in second. And then it's a big matchup between fourth and fifth, Denmark and Canada there. So that's the one that I'm excited to see. Standings, I kind of just alluded to them, but yeah, Argentina through, Netherlands through. Saudi then, well, they're sitting in third. Denmark and Canada take on each other. Qatar in sixth, and quickly Group B, all still to play for between fourth, fifth and sixth there. Finland, Malaysia and USA, two massive games coming up for them. Well, two more rounds of fixtures he played, but we're going to take a pause with that because Mike LaBelle is standing by with the telestrator. Mike, what have you got up your sleeve for us? Does it come from the USA?
It's got to come from Team USA. I'm American. I've got my bias. I'm cheering. They've had some big results today. Unfortunately, they just lost some points against Finland, but we're going to resurface. We're going to refocus. We're going to talk about Team USA going up against France and the importance of Savic and understanding matchups and some different 2v2 goals. We're really going to look at set pieces here. And the long throw has become an extremely effective set piece. And it's about, again, finding that matchup, isolating that matchup. And in many cases, it's been Savic. You can see right here just the absolute height difference between Savic and some of the midfielders, even the defenders, even the center backs. He just towers them. He has that power. And then once you've isolated that situation, you can move two players at the same time because you're playing 2v2, of course, and it allows you to then work that together as a collaborative effort. Knocks it down to Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho, of course, converts. We celebrate. Got some dancing, got some prancing, got the draw in this case against France, and it has put Team USA in a point where they can still decide their future. They've got 2 games left. They need to win those matches, but today, day 2 has been much better than day 1. Back to you at the couch with the boys.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's been much better, hasn't it, on day 2 for USA. They're taking on Morocco next. Again, a big match, a big chance for Team USA because Morocco have been dropping a couple of points as well after such a great day yesterday. Well, should we just bring in, we've got a new guest on the couch as well. We're going to say hello on the couch to the guests that are here joining me today. Richard Buckley, we are lilac-minded. Whoop, do you like what I did there?
I always like what you do, Rachel. It's great to be on the couch.
I want to see what we're wearing. We're wearing the same coloured T-shirt. That's why I said that joke. Anyway, joke went because I can't see me and you together.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with what I've seen this morning. I think a few nations will be very disappointed with their performances. We potentially, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're seeing the nation that's going to be winning the FIFAe Nations Cup in this afternoon session as well. I think
big statement.
I just think there's a couple of nations in particular that look really, really refined.
I'm going to not look at Aggie when I say this. Denmark. Playing Canada next. I'm reading into the fact that Anders has run out. Okay, it could have been a toilet break. We don't know, so I'm going to say that the fact that he ran out there, the nerves getting to him, is the pressure getting to him? Are we going to see them falter at this second day?
Very simply, just avoid defeat. You avoid defeat, a draw puts you through. Like you've got very little points left to play for, 6 points available. If you do the math, they're 4 points clear. Canada have to win, and that's going to pretty much dictate the entire game. I think it's going to be Canada attacking this Danish team. It probably ends up in a draw and Denmark go through mathematically.
Are you impressed with what we've seen from Malaysia on the second day? Bit of a resurgence from them.
Malaysia, and I was watching the games earlier with Spain as well. Finland. I think Finland have been very, very impressive. Both nations picking up points,
Denmark.
maybe where they arguably on paper shouldn't be picking up points as well. And that game coming up next, you win that match, you are not mathematically safe, but 4th place is there with your name on it.
Well, it's between those two sides we were just chatting about, Finland and Malaysia. Aggie, surely we're not going to get a draw here. They both know how important it is. With that in mind, what do you expect from that match?
I think it's going to be tight, just as the Group B has been throughout both days here. And I mean, Malaysia did really good today as well, so I don't like to count them out here, but I think it will be a draw.
I spoke about Denmark. As a Dane yourself, are you worried about what you've seen this morning or this afternoon, wherever you might be watching so far?
Not really, to be honest. I'm not 100% aligned with what my own kind of expectation to the team are, because I wanted to see them play before judging here. But I will say so far that group stage gives you hints, not definitive answers. And so far the hints has been that Denmark doesn't have what it takes to win, but that can easily change when you have the players like Anders and Marcus and Østen as well.
Well, that's a big statement there from Aggie about his own nation. Alex, you can see the nation we're talking about on screen. Marcuso and Anders has jumped back in there. Can Anders, and I don't say this disrespectfully to Marcuso or Østen here, can he find something to carry this side?
Well, before this tournament started, Aggie was bigging it up backstage, saying, Anders, he's more than capable. If there's any person that can say, I'm going to take this team, I'm going to drive it forward, and we're going to get that victory, it's Anders that will do that.
Hello.
Yes, it's being ropey to say. There's a chance he can do it, but if Aggie's saying, I don't think he's going to, I want to go with Aggie and say it's going to be a very difficult task for Denmark to go all the way and win this tournament.
Getting to a quarter-final and winning the entire tournament is two very different things. I think sheer quality and sheer ability will only take you so far. Getting a win on the biggest stage is what... It just takes you that one step further. And speaking of getting the win on the biggest stage, these two nations that we're seeing battle off right here, Saudi Arabia and Argentina, I think one of these two will be there on the final day, will be potentially in the top 2 placement, battling it out for the trophy. For the simple fact that, I mean, Saudi Arabia, they either win or they lose. Like, just their entire performances that they've given so far.
Let's go to 5.
I think they've got a really high ceiling, August. And, I mean, we all know about Argentina, probably the favourite for this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some good shouts there from you, Rich, with the nations we've been seeing in action here. First part, and we have Finland already just continuing. And I mean, they work very methodical and a lot with analysis and the element of surprise. I mean, it's very impressive team in terms of the coaches and analysis behind, trying to find those things that the other teams doesn't expect. And we've seen another trick pulled out of the hat right there.
Finland play FIFA. It's ugly the way that they score goals. Like, a lot of crosses into the box, but it's very effective. We've got a good friend, Alex, Mr. Aubrey. He'd be clapping his hands at every single goal that they're scoring right now, because it's not maybe the most, what shall we say, pretty way of scoring and getting goals. But Petr Cech popping up at the back post for you, it's very effective.
I want to know why you were staring me in the eyes when you were saying that Finland don't play pretty football, pretty FIFA. There's multiple ways to play this video game. It doesn't all have to be on the ground. It doesn't have to all be fancy. Finland have found their way, and that is getting that man on your screen, Petr Cech, in at the back stick, isolating up against any fullback he can, and scoring goal after goal, and it works. I spoke about it multiple times in the lead up to these tournaments. Every team has different play styles, and also as well, some of these nations might not have played against a team like Finland that uses that sort of routine over and over and over again. And you've only got 90 minutes to figure it out on how to stop it, and that's a difficult task in itself, Aggie.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember actually coaching Marcuso in a big tournament a few years back where he had to play against Kosu from Finland. And he was also about the crosses back then, and it took a while for us to figure out how we're going to stop this, and there was no really a direct answer to that. So it just goes to show that you can come up against these certain type of play styles that can be very hard to solve, and I think that's what Finland's been working on. I think they realized that if we try to play an even ball game, just with step overs and the more normal things against Nicolas, against the likes of Anders,
you're going to lose.
We're going to lose. We have to try to find something different where we can surprise the others.
Did you find something to stop?
Well, luckily we got through that match, but it was very, very tight.
And that's what I guess I'm kind of bringing it back to, Rich, when you were saying, you know, knockouts is very different to the final if Denmark were to get there. But then knockouts is very different from today because you're going to 2 legs of FIFA. Would that play into the Danish team's hands even more if they were to get through?
Potentially so, but they've got to get there first as well. And that's what this game against Canada is all about. Group B is where it's all kicking off. We saw 2 early goals from Finland against Malaysia. There has been a goal between Morocco and the United States, and it's gone the way of the United States. This corner came from a missed penalty in which they unfortunately put it to the keeper's side from the corner. Thierry Henry strong in the middle of the box, and all those potentials, all those ifs and buts of, well, if we pick up 3 points here, then this result goes our way. The teams that need to win are winning at this current moment. Finland and the United States are going to be going into that final round alongside Malaysia with everything to play for.
There's nothing like leaving a little bit too late, is there? Denmark, Canada, though, that one's still 0-0, as is Qatar, Netherlands. A lot of these matches in Group A 0-0. Saudi, Argentina as well. Well, we're going back to the USA game here as well.
And the US took that lead nice and early, but Morocco bounced back straight away. That counter press just coming through exceptionally well for them. Van Dijk again, not finding his feet, not clearing his lines. If you're a Morocco fan, doesn't matter either way. The US with that dream start, the start that they need to keep their tournament hopes alive.
It's just something they've lacked probably throughout this tournament, consistency. They've been really good in spells. The comeback against Italy, where they scored late, and it was such a sort of a pandemonium here in the arena. And then you go into the next game and you just can't convert. Then you find yourself 1-0 down. You go up 1-0 against Morocco in the last game, and then they equalise straight away. It's just not being consistent enough to get a top 4 placement, and they are running out of time. Canada, very similar to their North American compatriots here. They have to win this game if they want any hope of leaving it into the final round of fixtures to overthrow Denmark. A draw is enough, Aga, for the Danes.
Yeah, and even if Canada were to beat Denmark, I mean, Saudi could still go out as well. I mean, if Canada beats Denmark and Saudi Arabia, and Denmark beat the Netherlands, it's the home favorites who will go out of that group.
Speaking of Denmark and Canada, just as you were speaking about some permutations, Denmark looking to leave it not to the final matchup as they go 1-0 up. Italy and France underway. There was a shout from behind us and it sounded Italian, Alex B.
It does sound Italian indeed. France were looking so strong throughout this tournament. They were top of that group. They're just falling off slightly. They're still very comfortable. However, this goal here that we saw, Denmark, Canada, Mark Uzo, he was looking at his teammate, Anders. He was just laughing. He was like, I don't even know what I just did. Either way, though, he found his way through and a goal back for the Malaysian team of Akmal and Chamak. And we spoke about them today. I've been very, very impressed with their resilience, getting a draw against France as well, showcasing what they are made of. Back to Denmark, Canada.
Yeah, and every day is a new day. As a real of a cliche here, but it's true. And it's also going to be mixed up results tomorrow. We're going to have an indication, as I say. Group stages gives you a hint, not a definitive answer on who is going for in the competition. And we will see upsets. We will see some of the teams who's performing very good right now going out tomorrow early.
Yeah, we lose 8 then, don't we? After this evening's Group C and D have been completed. And no one wants to be in that drop zone. 5 and 6 go home. So we approach like the half-time mark. Only 45 minutes left of this and then one more game. You can't find a bit of form now. I'm afraid it looks like it's going to be too late for a couple of these teams. The USA in particular need to really have a little think, don't they? 1 point is not going to be enough from this matchup against Morocco.
This Denmark-Canada game was a draw yesterday, 1-1. The final scoreline. A draw doesn't help Canada at all. The second half, 5 minutes away, but you have to imagine changes will be implemented, more attacking. Try and just throw everything you've got at this Danish side and hope that they wilt in the final 45 minutes. This could be 2-0, dancing around the goalkeeper. Denmark go 2-0 up.
Yeah, just when it matters the most, they step up, and I mean, as long as they're in the competition, I'm sure that if you ask the majority of the teams, they will not like to face Denmark. I'm still confident in that.
Maybe we can get Spencer to ask a couple of teams that and see if you are right, Aggie. But at the moment, it's very much going in the Danes' favour with the other matches as well. That's when we start talking about what's the other team doing, and in particular, Saudi, they're still being held to a draw by Argentina. As we're having a little look at Group B, doesn't affect the guys in Group A, of course, until tomorrow. This one then, just started to change things up here, Alex.
Yeah, that's Netherlands putting themselves into that lead position against Qatar. We already know Qatar's tournament is over. They will be leaving us today from the group stage. And at times we see it where teams get knocked out and then they come out with those remaining games and they kind of put on a show. They play with freedom, knowing, you know what, we're going home, let's just enjoy those games. That is not the case, though, for the team from Qatar. Malaysia and Finland right now. Another cross coming in. Buckley's he's seen it time and time again, and he's taking notes, thinking, how can I bring that into my game?
Don't have the big men for it.
Not your play style, no?
It can be my play style. You've got to have the personnel, though, as well. There's no point crossing into sort of a... Very similar to when we had sort of R9 and Eusebio, Pele, Cruyff as the meta items in the game. Crossing wasn't a thing. I think we've only seen it emerge as the players who you're crossing into have got better and better and better. The goalkeepers, I mean, have completely done a 180 on the entire game. The Shapeshifters promo, FIFA is played at such a different style, different tempo, different play style. Everything has changed with that recent promo in the game, especially at this level. Previous FIFAs, a Ruud Gullit, a Patrick Vieira, there was no one like those items in the game. Now you just put Hugo Lloris in centre mid, and he's arguably better than both of those two combined. But you look at Milinkovic-Savic, 6'8", can skill, can move on the ball. Out wide, Thierry Henry, better than... Most players aren't even taking R9 in their teams. That just goes to show how effective these players are. I think the only one to probably survive the Shapeshifter promo very well could be Mbappe. Mbappe, he was in December, January, all the different iterations of Mbappe, and he's still in now. Other than that, you're pretty much looking at an entire new team.
Netherlands then just got another goal, didn't they, against the team from Qatar. 2-0, that one is. Second half underway, though, of Denmark-Canada here. Canada, unfortunately, haven't been able to break down this Danish side, have they, Aga? And, yeah, looking like they need to find something now.
Yeah, and I think at this stage, if you're Canada, you just have to go all in. I mean, you need 3 goals to get back. You have 40 virtual minutes. At their point, they shouldn't care if they lose with 5. Just go for the comeback now.
Speaking of a side that's going for it, that is the Italians in a group that they got dragged into this battle for 4th or 3rd. France have been very, very good throughout the group standings so far. However, Italy 2-0 up with not long left to go whatsoever. Back to our featured match, Denmark and Canada. What sort of minute are you looking at for a Canadian goal here, Al, if you're thinking there might be something on the cards for this Canadian side as you flash it past the post?
So now would do quite nicely, Richard. I think with Canada, when you're saying we've got to get 3 goals, you've got to start getting that first goal at least in the next 5 to 10 minutes. The only downside that you're going to have is you start putting more numbers forward to give yourself that chance of making that comeback, because a draw isn't good enough. You need a win here. Is that you're still giving Marcuso and Anders chance for them to commit in numbers, for them to have that advantage on that counter-attack time and time again. A big press there, though, Zaha. A goal would have done very nicely there for Canada. You can see that constant press is coming on. Denmark struggling to clear their lines, as they do.
And we've seen some truly miraculous things with the use of constant pressure and the instructions that you can implement on. We only have to remember back to last week, Footways trailing multiple times, getting back into the games, forcing late goals, extra time and penalties. They won't be able to do that here in the group standings, Canada. It's very simple, 28 minutes to go, 3 goals needed to keep your tournament alive.
Yeah, that's just it, isn't it, Rich? They are about to be eliminated. They don't turn things around. Aggie said it, why aren't they doing it now? They just need to go all-out attack, don't they? Just to give themselves a little bit of hope in the last round of fixtures as the game paused there. And we can go and have a look around the grounds as well, as we did have another goal in this matchup.
A huge
goal
as well. The United States, with 17 minutes left to play, find themselves 2-1 up against Morocco. The Netherlands doing what unfortunately everyone seems to have done over the last couple of days in beating Qatar. 3-0 now, the Dutch lead. Finland still in front against Malaysia. This Group B is going to come down to the last moments here in this last round.
And at the top side of the table in Group B as well, neither team wants to say, I want that first spot. France losing to Italy, Morocco losing to the USA. Morocco win that game against the US, they say thank you. We'll take that top spot going into that last game. As it stands, though, it will be France that stay top of that group regardless of their loss against Italy. If it stays that way, we should say. Malaysia and Finland 2-1.
Well, it's just back down between the USA, really, isn't it? And the Finland at the moment, unless this goes... unless Malaysia have a comeback. If both teams win, Finland then just taking it away with another goal there. And yeah, it's going to be really tight. It looks like Group A has been summed up there, Rich, but Group B, it's going to be that final match to decide it all, I believe.
Well, it put Finland on to 12 points after this round. It put the USA on to 9. It's going to come down to a tiebreaker goal sort of different situation. The USA play Malaysia, Finland play Italy. So it is going to be real sort of small margins. However, Finland going into that game, probability-wise, 90%, 95% of going through, just given the goal difference swing and the other factors that will include that. Finland beat USA 3-1 in the earlier round. The USA drew with Finland, so the tiebreakers also go Finland's way.
We've also seen from Finland their first change with substitutions as well. The brothers have been split up. Kosu has got Anzinio in the booth with him, and right now it's working for them.
Yeah, maybe if we can go to the Group B games, because they're the ones that are getting really exciting as well, Naeem.
Goal between Morocco and the United States. We are talking about the United States and what they must do and how they could do it. However, it doesn't start with conceding a goal to the back post. Morocco score.
And I think as it stands right now, in this moment, if it stands as it is, we have the top 4 of that group.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it, Aggie? France, Morocco, Italy and Finland. But it's all still to play for, though, in this one. We still have a couple of moments left. Oh, Aggie, tell us about this.
It's a penalty for Canada. Saved. That's a big one.
Not too happy about it.
Nice to get a clean sheet, though, isn't it? It is nice not to concede any of those.
Trying to be unbiased here.
That could be more than likely is tournament over for Canada. It's a must-score situation. You need 3 goals in order to turn this game around, as Malaysia and Finland right there.
I feel like we should go to Morocco, USA, because it's a big matchup. They're drawn, and they're drawing at the moment. There's only 10 minutes just under left in this one.
Morocco flying forward with numbers. Attacking intent is on the forefront of their mind here. To the byline, cuts it back. You did hear a shout. There's not many games that are still in action. Chance here for the United States. In behind. Just ran too far. And it was Group B action. It was a goal, and it was a game-winning moment for Italy. 3-1. They take the victory against France. They solidify themselves into the latter knockout rounds here with a game left to play. It's all about the seeding. Will they finish 4th or 3rd? Is the question on their mind. To the back post, just offside for the United States. Seconds remaining.
Not enough time, Rich. USA got to find something. Morocco doesn't really matter as much, does it?
I mean, just look at the numbers going forward, though. Morocco want to win. They want to try and top this group. Quote-unquote, get an easier matchup in the first round of the knockouts. The higher seeding you have coming through the groups. But they have left a bit of space in behind. The referee doesn't want it, and with that result, Morocco pick up a point. The United States just leave it with too little, too late in the final round, and points won't be made up.
Well, that's not enough for them now, because Finland are looking like they're the winners in their matchup, as we just see Denmark get a 4th. It does look like this stage that all the groups have basically been done. We've got one more round to play, and we have our top 4 in both of them, as we just see the last few moments of this match up there. This was the one we thought there was possibly a comeback on, wasn't there, when that penalty just went wide and was saved there for Canada. That could have taken it to 2-1, and then Denmark just ran away with it.
Yeah, I think that was the small window for Canada to eventually come back and do something. Would still have required a miracle regardless if that penalty would have gone in, but both groups concluded here. Now we just have to find out who finishes where.
What a performance, by the way, from Italy. We have to say it. They've looked subpar all day. They come into it against top-of-the-table France and pick up a huge 3 points. They were getting dragged into the conversation in Group B. They solidify themselves out of it. And now they're level on points with Morocco going into the final game of the day. A huge performance. And they take on Finland in our final game.
There are a couple of huge performances everywhere. We needed a couple more big performances from the team sitting in 5th and 6th, and we really didn't get them there. We were talking about they needed to make a move there and didn't get to. So one of the teams, though, who have been excelling all day, with a team from the Netherlands, and they finished 2nd then in Group A as it stands. One more match to go, but they have booked their spots to tomorrow. Spen, are they feeling happy about that? Are they going to make any changes in this final fixture just to try out anything new?
Well, I think there's still some stuff up for grabs in this group. Netherlands is sitting 2nd right now, but you are playing Denmark in the final game. If Denmark were to win that on head-to-head, I think they would go above you. So 18 points, not enough right now to even guarantee 2nd position. Shows you how competitive the group is.
Yeah, of course, every game is tough in this group, and now Denmark, we try to get at least a draw, maybe a win, and I hope in the knockouts we have to show our level again.
Both you and Argentina have had a really similar journey. You both lost your opening games, and since then you haven't lost. What was your first game like? What did you learn from it, and how did you change things?
So, first game we wanted to have a bit more of an attacking duo in me and Emre. I think you take that risk of also conceding, and that happened in that game. That was unfortunate. But for example, against Argentina, we were 1-0 down, and we put me and Emre to play again, and we made it 2-2. So that's also one of the things that can happen. But I think most of the times Levi plays to add that more stability to the team. I think that's what we need sometimes. And yeah, then either me or Emre plays depending on form and situation.
Have you had a think at all about who you might face in the knockout rounds? We know you're going to be there. You know you're going to play someone from Group C, and you're now battling to try and get that 2nd or 3rd position. Is there a reason you'd prefer 2nd? Are you trying to avoid anyone?
Well, of course, Group C is very tough. Like, only good teams will go out of that, because that group is like the same as our group. But yeah, of course, the world champions are in that group, and we like to play them a bit later in the tournament. So we definitely want to get the 2nd place at least, and hopefully 1st if Argentina slip up.
Okay, let's see what happens. There's been a really decent run from the Dutch guys, and I'm going to talk to Argentina at some point today. They keep getting away from me, but they're doing so well. 20 points, just a couple points ahead of these guys in the Dutch camp. But for now, I'll go back to you, Rachel.
Yeah, well, they're obviously looking at who they're playing in the next round. That comes into play, doesn't it, when they get to the end of the group stages. Netherlands, they take on Denmark next. That's a big matchup as well. We saw two of the guys there, didn't we? Levy and Anders. They were playing a lot last week. Let's have a look then at this Group A then. Argentina, 20 points. The Netherlands, they look like they want, don't they, to top that table there. Netherlands take on the Danes next, and that's Scandinavian matchup. Saudi Arabia have dropped down. That doesn't matter. Canada, though, and Qatar, unfortunately, are out of it. So it's only 4 placings now in Group A. And the same has to be said for Group B. France, Morocco, Italy, and Finland have all booked their spots in the next round because it's not mathematically possible for the USA and Malaysia to overhaul any of those sides. So again, they all want a few more points just to face a slightly easier opposition in the next round, which begins tomorrow. Anyone really looking to change anything up, do you think, boys, in this next round of who's already gone through?
I don't think anyone will necessarily change anything up, quote unquote, but I think the coaches will be saying to all of their players right now, look, we're through, we've got the job done. Yes, you might want to get first, second, third, wherever you are in your position, but it's about going into the last game and just playing with freedom, playing with confidence, knowing it's your last game of the day. Let's make sure we go out there, we play good FIFA, we play good football, give ourselves confidence going into that round of 16.
Aggie, is this a chance to practice some things that haven't gone well before, or just a chance to kind of sharpen up some more skill moves that maybe you haven't used and might come and be impactful later on in the competition?
I think at this stage of the competition, it's more about just the small adjustments. And I also think that the coaches on the different teams definitely got some specific answers to which players are we going to use for the game tomorrow. I think we saw a lot of rotation, and I feel like that they need to have a definitive lineup for tomorrow.
I would like to see Eze Correa play. He's been sat behind them for 9 rounds. They're through. They're guaranteed to be in there. Last 45 minutes maybe. Just give him a little bit of game time.
Is there anyone else actually with a third player, substitution reserve, we haven't seen? It'd be nice to get them in the side out here. This is when I want to turn around, but if I do that, it doesn't look great.
I think Saudi Arabia as well. I think it's been Abu Makr and Dasari have played all the games so far, to my knowledge, unless I've missed maybe a substitution in the games, but I don't think they have. I think they've stuck with 2. Argentina stuck with 2. I know Italy have subbed. They've been subbing every 45 minutes.
Saudi may be possibly a team that could do that, but the likes of Argentina, they're not going to do that, are they? Because they want to finish top of the group, I'm going to say. Same with France.
For Group A, I don't know if there's any advantage for finishing first because you go up against Group C. Like, there's a good chance you'll be playing Portugal if you finish first. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see more in Group B where you want to play for that seeding. First in Group B will get an easier match. In Group D, A to C, you're going to be playing anyone good.
Well, you always look at France, don't you? You go, well, what kind of game are they deciding to play? Alex, do they have Fuma in the hot seat, or do they have Diogo?
Well, they need to win, right? If they want to top that group, they've got to go out there and they've got to win.
But are they going to go attacking, or are they just going to sit back and defend and try and go for maybe a draw as well?
Just go for it. You may as well. You know, you're in that position where you've made that round of 16. Fuma has come in and time again, he's grabbed those goals. He's been so important for them throughout this tournament. I'd start attacking rather than being a little bit more defensive, a little bit more on that passive outcome and saying, let's just go out there, let's play our game, let's have some fun with it, and let's get the win. Brian, though, more qualified than me, maybe he's got different ideas.
So you're thinking possibly Fuma sits in then to go a bit more attacking for Team France. Aggie and the Danes going to change anything up in this last one? Ooston hasn't had that much game time.
I think he had some good substitutions. I don't think they're going to change, because if they were to beat the Netherlands, they'll climb up as a second in the group, which I think still matters in some sort, especially in the group of death. But we could definitely see him coming on to the game if he doesn't start.
Well, Levy's jumped back in then. We saw earlier, didn't we, Manu Bashir and Yilmaz. Is this their strongest starting lineup here for the Netherlands?
Probably, yeah. I don't know the
Champions
statistics
League
of it.
winner there.
Houston is in for Denmark. He did get the nod, so it's going to be Houston starting. He played 45 minutes in the last game yesterday in this exact match. He got brought on at half-time. and he's coming in for the full 90 this time around. Maybe just to get me a bit of game time and also see how he adapts to the matches. Last round, not a lot to play for, but you want to be going into tomorrow on the back of a win, that's for sure.
Yeah, totally. Well, Houston jumps in. We did ask the question, Aggie, if he was going to. Rich thinks it's just nice for him to get an entire 90 minutes under his belt. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It makes me happy to see that he also get some play time because over the years, I mean, he's been one of the most successful players and one of the strongest as well in Denmark. So for him also to be activated, I think it's important. He has some offensive attributes that could be very, very vital for Denmark if they have to chase a game.
And Eze Correa is in for Argentina. Nicolas stepped out. Mateus and Eze are going to be playing this last match for Argentina against Qatar. So statistically, they've got the easiest game in the group, and they're going to be taking on Qatar in the last game. Eze Correa, he could get a medal if they go on to win because he has played a game.
Well, it's a big matchup actually in the France-Morocco, and we were saying whoever wins that does top the table, as we just see the start of the Netherlands-Denmark game as well. But that's a pretty important game just for confidence, isn't it, Alex, as well? The France-Morocco, one of who goes into the next day. As we just get a goal there for Denmark.
Yeah, and to answer the question as well, for France and Morocco, France obviously 2 points clear at the top of the table. They know if they can get that draw or a positive result of the win, they will top that group. And we said, were they going to go attacking, were they going to go defensive? Well, Brian has chosen to go with a defensive route of bringing in Diogo Fuma, drops to the bench, which in a way is probably the best decision you could make, I suppose, to go back on my words earlier on, purely for the fact of if you find yourself 1-0 down, at least you've got the ability to bring on Fuma. As it was reversed and Fuma was in that starting lineup, you have to stick with what you have. Morocco need to take the game to France. They need to have a convincing performance to see themselves in that first position.
This was the opening goal here for Argentina. Eze Correa and Mateus Bernardo leading after 8 minutes against Qatar. We talk about confidence, we talk about momentum. We've not been in the hot seat, we've not played at this level before. When you're going from day to day, is it actually a thing, or is it you finish on the group standings, then you come into the knockouts, and you might... I've seen a lot of people go 7-0 in Swiss and then get knocked out in the first knockout game. Is it more important to come in with a fresh mindset and think, okay, now what's happened before doesn't matter? Or can you take things that you learnt in the groups and take it forward?
I think it definitely plays a part how you got through day one and day two, so to speak. But I also agree that every day of the competition is a new one. And coming in, I will say, and I have said this many times before, the hardest game in the tournament for me personally was always the first game of the day. So when you're coming into the knockout stage, it was always hard to remember if you would have made a successful group stage and finished one, just because it's a new day and you need to settle in the nerves, you need to find the flow again. It just makes it so hard. So both yes and no.
And we often say the phrase, well, all the players, if you ask them, are you looking forward to who you might be playing? They always say, I'm going to take one game at a time, I'm going to look only at the next game. Do you actually believe that? Or do you sometimes think, well, if I win this game, I've got quite a nice run in the rest of the bracket?
I think you look at who are in your tree, so to speak, but I think it would be very naive to look forward. I mean, you have to just take one game per time. You can't start focusing on games that doesn't exist yet. That's just how I always like to approach my matches when I was competing. One game at a time, especially at the knockout stage.
And there's probably only one player that we know of that goes on the opposite way of that scale. Anders, in that Club World Cup, they finished their group. He immediately went, Bromby semi-final. I want to be there. That's who I want to play against. I want to knock them out. I want to send them home. Maybe it just comes down to what sort of player we're dealing with. As we jump over to this game, United States, Malaysia, 32nd minute. It is Malaysia, which, yes, they are not going to be advancing through to that round of 16. However, today they have put on a bit more of a show. Back to the game with Morocco on that attack.
It does matter though with USA and Malaysia. No one wants to finish bottom of the group, do they? So whoever gets the win there, I say the win because if they get a draw, then they're both kind of a joint, aren't they? Bottom of the group. You don't want to go home sitting at the bottom of your table.
No, you don't. But I think also both of these teams are saying, look, we're done. We want to get this game out of the way, have that enjoyment where we can, and then see our trip home. But there has been news and goals from elsewhere. Which way has it gone, Richard?
Yeah, it was that match between the Netherlands and Denmark. The Dutch equalising against the Danes, 1-1, 30 minutes on the clock. And we get to see a little bit of the celebration all the way back to the halfway line as we join this action live. Canada and Saudi Arabia still goalless. Argentina leading 1-0 against Qatar. And France and Italy, you've not missed any of the action there. That's 0-0 as the Netherlands fist bumps all round. That means they've scored again, 2-1. They lead.
Quick turnaround there, gotta say that. But again, just goes to show how impressive the Netherlands has been so far. It's not always easy to be one of the favorites, but they're just going to show that they're ready for this task.
Well, you were just talking about the Italian side, weren't you there, Rich? Finland, though, might just be trying to upset the apple cart. Oh.
Yeah, we can have a look at that goal. We just saw sort of the back of it. Turned his man, fired it in at the near post. Netherlands 2-1 up against Denmark. This was Finland and Italy. And Finland go 1-0 up. I need my eyes testing. I say it was France-Italy. Finland-Italy is the correct result. France losing 1-0 against Morocco. It's been a long couple of days.
Did you see that as well there from Finland? That goal that they scored? The ball on the ground. Different.
Plus they're through. They don't have to play more serious now. They're a bit more relaxed. But this will put them above Italy in the group as well. So they statistically get a nicer first knockout round matchup as Morocco equalise against France for the hunt for top spots.
The Shoto brothers are not particularly impressed with what's unfolding in their matchup at the moment, are they?
No, and I think when that gets to half-time, we'll possibly see a change come through there. We mentioned Alfuma, that attacking outlet that he does provide you as we jump back into this game. Netherlands on a stroke of half-time, putting themselves 3-1 to the good. Houston's come in, but it's not worked out.
Yeah, it's definitely a compromise you can make at some times, and I mean, when they start to click together, Houston and Bayergang, you arguably have the best offensive duo in the world. I mean, both of these two players score goals for fun, but on the other hand, it's also two players who like to take a lot of risk in their pressure play, and it seems like the Netherlands have found some gaps in the defense.
This matchup here, these two sides are racing through this one. Alex said they didn't want to hang around, they want to finish their campaign. It's looking that way, isn't it? Malaysia still with that slight advantage over the USA, who couldn't really turn it around. They said they really played well, didn't they, against France a little bit earlier on, and they believed they could have won a couple of their matches, but they needed to go and win all three final matches here, and they just couldn't do it.
US had moments throughout this tournament where they looked good, some really nice work goals. They just struggled to remain consistent, to be solid at the back. A few times where they didn't clear their lines, the press came through from the opponent and giving away some cheap goals, and that has been the story for themselves as we are still on this game in Group B between these two sides that are on their way home. And with scorelines elsewhere, Canada and Saudi Arabia 0-0 right now. I say that, and I'm sure we'll get some news very shortly. Oh, right.
Why couldn't they have done that earlier, hey, Alex?
They didn't, and it's actually, you mentioned about how, okay, yeah, they don't want to finish bottom of that group, neither of these sides. It's very rare that we actually see direct free kicks taken at this level, and this is the goal that is going to be for Saudi Arabia, cooking and moving. Lovely finish. You like that one, Aggie?
That was a good one for the eye.
Yeah.
Been very impressed by Saudi Arabia. I didn't really know what to expect. Just the simple fact that we've not seen a lot of. I mean, especially with Abu Maka, we've seen a fair bit of. We can't get enough of it. Club World Cup, E-Nations, and the E World Cup. But I think for Dosari, it was a little bit of unknown, like how much has he been playing. We saw him at the playoffs. He had a good run. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get over and win a penalty shootout in the end to qualify for the E-World Cup. It was just a bit of an unknown. But I suppose over the last 5 years of FIFA esports, there's one thing I've learned not to do, and that's doubt Dossari and his performances that he puts up.
Would you say for Dossari as well, he almost comes into his element when they do get into that knockout stage FIFA, 2 legs? That's where maybe a Saudi Arabian team that we've seen that have been so exceptional could maybe even reach new heights in this tournament.
It'd be great, wouldn't it, to see a comeback for the team from Saudi, and Dossari being a world champion again a couple of years after the last time we saw him lift the title. That says quite a lot as well, doesn't it, Aggie? If you can do it a few years ago and then come back and do it again when we haven't seen much about him.
Yeah, and I mean, what a story would be for him to do it here in his home country. He's definitely, as I've been saying, I would never go against Emis Dossari at a FIFA E-World Cup or E-Nations Cup just because of his history. He's always there, he's always performing, so I'm really excited to see him. And one other team that I gotta say, it's been the surprise of the competition for me. I didn't expect them to do a lot, but so far they're winning Group B as far as I'm concerned, is Morocco. I didn't know what to expect from them, but right now they're putting on a show and they're outplaying France.
All I've seen for the last 4 or 5 months on social media is how good Morocco are, but they've not had the opportunity to play. You speak to Dory, he will tell you how good the talent is in Morocco, and especially this roster that they've assembled for this tournament. It's not that I didn't expect it, I just didn't expect it to go so well. Like, I thought they would go through the group. I thought they might go for 4th or 3rd. To fly through the group in the manner that they have had, very, very impressed by Morocco. And we saw Morocco at the World Cup. You were there, Rachel, back in Qatar 2022. A surprising result. Why not do the same here?
And they became a fan's favourite there, didn't they? Everybody got behind them, and I think that's what you heard Mr. Dory say again here. He said, you know, we hope to get everyone in Morocco behind not just the national side, but this virtual e-football side as well. And I'm sure if they go a bit further into competition, they will get a lot of support from back home.
I mean, this just is such a statement performance as well. No one's made France look like this. No one's made them look pretty ordinary throughout this tournament, and that's exactly what Morocco are doing.
You saw that Fuma jumped back in as well, so they're looking to go more attacking now, and Morocco obviously got a 3rd back when that switch had happened as well. We're talking about United States. They switched back to Fiddle and Lamps. Unfortunately, they just conceded another one. They went 2-2 now. USA taking on Malaysia there.
Did I just see Hugo Lloris just
slap that top bin? Yes.
Not even green either. Just pick this one out. Maybe when you look at that, the US, yes, they are out of this tournament now. Rachel, you mentioned about how you can go out and play with freedom. They weren't doing that in those games that meant more, where they had to get those 3 points. They had to ensure that they still had their tournament alive. And it is Denmark coming back in against the Netherlands. Netherlands were 3-1 to the good. Houston coming in with Anders as we jump over to Finland v Italy. Finland and Italy putting up a stormer of a game, 1-1 in that fixture. This was that goal that we just saw there, Raggy.
Yeah, definitely. All games are tied right now. Also, just as we're seeing on the screen now, Denmark has somehow found a way back into this match. And a goal more, I'm just saying, just changing up the summarize of Denmark's group if they would to get to that 2nd place.
So on the screen there, Finland restoring that lead that they had over Italy. It is their main man up front, Petr Cech, with a penguin dance.
If someone told you 6 weeks ago you'd be competing for $1 million and you'd be having an attack of Petr Cech, Thierry Henry, you'd have a midfield of Hugo Lloris and Milinkovic-Savic, and at the back, Emi Martinez and Gigi Buffon as your centre-halves. I think, what year are we playing?
I would say we're playing FIFA. That's what I'd say. USA then 2-2. That does end their campaign against Malaysia there. Unlucky for those guys, finishing 5th and 6th. Finland, Italy. Didn't expect that result to be as it is. And Argentina, Qatar. Full time, 2-0. Eze Correa then jumps in for Nicholas, doesn't he, with Matthias Bonanno there. Nice for him to get a chance.
I believe that's the most points we've seen as well, accumulated, 23 points. If memory serves me correctly, for Argentina, that was more than we saw at the Club World Cup last week in the 10 rounds of groups. And it's going to be a real feat. Probably the only side this evening that might get near it is Turkey, if they continue their form from yesterday. The Netherlands and Denmark putting on a classic here with 14 minutes left to play. Impressed by what you've seen from Denmark to bring this tie back, Aga?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely capable of getting those goals. As far as I can see, no substitution for them, so they just stuck with the same two players, Houston and Anders, and I mean, that's what they can do. Their offensive abilities are remarkable, as I've been saying, and I think the entire FIFA Pro scene would know that it's two players with a high reputation in terms of scoring a lot of goals, so even if they get behind with 2 or 3 goals, they would still be able to bounce back, and they will still need another goal to make it count for real, because that would swap the two teams in the group.
Saudi Arabia, their match has just concluded as well. They were taking on Canada 3-0. That just adds another little bit of a nail in the coffin, doesn't it, of Team Canada, who exit here as well alongside Qatar there.
Morocco are making France look like they shouldn't be going through right now, leading 5-1. Back on board for the final few minutes against Netherlands and Denmark. What a performance from Morocco, Al.
Massive performance. We spoke to Dory yesterday after the event, and he mentioned how in that first matchup they had against France yesterday, they had some technical difficulties, and Morocco were looking on top before
2-0 up, I think.
2-0 up before they had those technical difficulties. That came through, and he said it just stopped them in their tracks. They didn't get back into the kind of rhythm and the movement and the vibe that they had. And he said, wait until tomorrow. They're delivering on that.
Maybe they got a bit complacent as well in their first 2 rounds earlier on today. They got a draw, didn't they? And they lost to Malaysia there. And then Mr. Dory wasn't really worried, was he?
Had confidence in his team.
Had confidence in his team. Maybe he knew. He said the nerves were getting to him a little bit. As we share the points then with those 2 teams on your screen, they make it through to tomorrow. Well, it's all been completed, hasn't it, here between groups A and B. We now know our round of 16 teams, and Spencer is right down there. Spen, who are you going to chat to first? Argentina.
Correct, yes, I'm with the guys from Argentina. I've just informed Nicholas exactly what Richard was saying on the couch a minute ago. 23 points is the most anyone's got, not just so far here at E-Nations, but also at E-Club World Cup. That's a pretty dominating performance in a very tough group.
Yeah, we are so happy for what we did, and you know, you want to get the most points possible. So yeah, we tried, and I think we are okay.
What a turnaround from that first game. You started with a defeat, let's not forget. It was a penalty, it was 2 penalties actually, but only 1 went in. But ever since then, you just turned into a different machine and no one could beat you.
Yeah, that's what I say to Mati, and you have to be with that mindset, in the sense every game is important, you know what I mean? And also, like, you have to improve, you know, if you lose for something, and I think every game we are improving, so I'm so happy, like, today we played really, really good.
Yeah, we've just seen some of your goals on the screen there. Are you starting to think now about the next step? You know, you're going to play someone from Group C. We don't know who that's going to be yet, but there's no reason to fear anyone, is there?
Yeah, I think like that. Like, my mindset is like, for example, this tournament, if we want to be the best country, the best national team, we have to beat like every national team, you know what I mean? If there is, I don't know, Brazil, Portugal, Spain, or whoever, we don't care. Like, we want the trophy.
I love it. Great work, guys. Well done. It's a really fantastic group stage from Argentina. 23 points is the most points we've seen anyone get. Maybe most points we'll see anyone get over the next few weeks as well. Only losing 1 game, couple draws in there, 7 wins is no joke. Right, I'm just going to go down here. I want to talk to the guys from Finland. We spoke to them earlier, but they've really turned on the form coming into the Finnish camp here. Guys, so yesterday, 5 games for you, 1 win, couple draws, 5 points is what you had. Today, they've really turned it on. 3 wins in a row to close it out as well. You've got to be very happy.
Yeah, we are very happy about our performance. Now we was able to score our chances, so it shows.
Because of that win in that last game against Italy, not only did Finland manage to make it out of the groups when you probably would have bet against them going into today, they actually finished 3rd. You didn't finish 4th, so that's really important, isn't it, to help with the seeding in the next round?
Yeah, I think it's good, but it's just important to get out of the group. Like, you can face anyone and anyone's good, and then it's 1B or 2.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of great nations here, but Finland have done really well. A fantastic day 2 from Finland, and that concludes groups A and B. Rachel, I cannot wait for the next 2 groups.
Yeah, that's a great result, isn't it, for Finland? Because as it sounded, they stayed in 4th. They would have got Israel, who have been pretty dominant so far. Well, that has confirmed everything then in groups A and B, and I want to just bring our attention back to our predictions, because that's always quite fun, isn't it? I'm going to go straight to Mike, because he's not here, so I can call him out because he's not on the sofa. He went with the USA topping Group B there. None of us, I can confirm, had Morocco. Surprised by that. None of us went with Morocco. They topped Group B in the end. Aggie, you had Italy, so did Rich, so did Alex, so did Spen, and then a lot of us had France as well. So we're a little bit split between those 2 sides. It's only Mike, that went the other way. Group A then. Did anyone have Argentina? Rich, you put your hand up, and so did Spen. Smug there is Richard Buckley. A lot of us had Denmark and also the Netherlands. So we did get all of our teams going through, apart from, unfortunately, USA. Well, let's confirm then who topped the table. Argentina. I mean, who wouldn't want to have Nicholas leading your team out here? He's such a great leader now. He's been here for so many years, and he has got so much experience. The Netherlands then and Saudi Arabia go through, as did Denmark. We already know we're saying goodbye to Canada and Qatar, unfortunately. And then Group B, Morocco. No one had them as table toppers of Group B. They went around their business quite well yesterday, and they came back at a shaky start to come back and get 17 points. France 16, Finland 15, and Italy go through as well in 13 points. Looking at those though, 23 points to 17. Quite the difference in points gathered between the 2 sides there.
I think it's mainly just down to Argentina being fabulous. If you would have said before the tournament, pick the 8 nations that go through Group A and B, I think I'm 8 for 8. I think I'd have gone the 8 nations that went through. I think Group A was, no offence to the teams, but pretty easy to predict. I think that the 4 there, in the 4 that went through, everyone would have said that they would have gone through. And then Group B, it was a toss-up between the United States and Finland before the tournament started. I'd seen more of Finland personally. I watched them in England's qualifying campaign. I know what they're like. Having the experience last week here with YMCA as well, bringing in Kosu, they knew how much of an impact he had. I don't really think we've seen any surprises. The biggest surprise was how good and how surprising Morocco were. I thought they'd go through. I didn't think they'd go through first.
I guess one of the take-homes as well, yes, Argentina finished top, but the Netherlands, they managed to keep it to a stalemate both times they faced the Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a potential later game in this competition between some of the teams in Group A, and especially the Netherlands and Argentina were impressive in that group. So, I mean, yeah, all 4 teams, I totally agree with you. I think I would have swapped Morocco and USA, to be honest. I think it was between the USA and Finland and Morocco to get those last 2 spots, but Finland were incredible, and the same goes for Morocco. So, yeah, some surprises will happen in this competition.
Alex, do you agree? No massive surprises going home, like Rich said?
No, I think Rich is exactly right. I think the only one was Group B for myself. I had a conversation with the E-League of Ireland champion Example, who was telling us that Finland, they're a team to watch out for. They are incredible. I thought the US, with the team that they had, with Lamps and CJ and Fiddle, I thought there's a chance, maybe, that they would go in over Finland. But Finland have just looked so confident in their ability.
Who knows if history might have changed if CJ starts? He probably picked up more points those first couple of games when Fiddle was in there. It didn't really click. CJ came in and they got better performances. Maybe they'll kick themselves thinking, what could have been?
Well, we'll have to wait and see till next year, because at the moment we've lost 4 of our teams and we'll lose 4 more again later on this evening as we turn our attention now to groups C and D. Well, this is the fixtures you're going to see. Singapore, Spain, massive night for the Spanish outfit. Portugal, same goes for them as well. They're taking on the world champions. And then Turkey, they are leading the group against Australia. We'll see them up first. Group D then. Who's playing who first? Israel, they are topping that table. They take on Peru. Germany with the world champion in it. They take on India, who had a great day yesterday too. And then you've got Sweden, who have finished second, take on South Africa. Well, thanks then to all of our guests here, and especially these 3 on the sofa with me, Aggie, Rich and Alex. Well, no massive surprises then did we have in groups A and B, but expect some possibly later on tonight, because as it stands, the pressure is very much on the Spanish side and the side from Portugal. Could we see those 2 massive nations go out in the group stages? Well, it's looking possible at the moment, and you'll find the answer to that, won't you, in about an hour and a half. Come back and join us at 10 to 8. We'll be back here. We can't wait to see you guys too. We'll see you then. Goodbye for now.